Yeah, still working the crash scene in Donaldson on Elm Hill Pike at Acorn Drive. And we are still seeing some minor delays heading into town from 65 this morning from the north. Looks like otherwise things are in good shape this morning heading into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. Joan is here, and Sam is here as well. All right, so real quick announcement. KGB, Jeff Malinoff, has resigned. And it was his decision, and I think we all need to be honest. He did say a couple of different times on the air he was looking for another job, and which is fine, Listen, these hours are not for everyone. And
True.
so we, yes. So we wish KGB the absolute best of luck.
All the best to him. Yep, for sure.
Loved working with him for the time that we did. Sam is here now. And Sam, how's your day going so far?
I'm still in the frying pan and it's still on fire.
So he came in today and we've got the YouTube chat that is not working.
It's working now.
What? You got it working?
I did.
Dude.
I'm putting the poll in right now.
So, Joan, Joan, don't listen to this, Sam. Joan, you and I got to have a talk.
Okay.
So Sam has to realize that when he fixes the problem 38 minutes in, that means he could have fixed it at like 1 minute in.
Oh, don't do
See,
that.
I know. How much of a jerk am I?
A big one at this very moment.
No wonder KGB quit.
Yeah. Is it any wonder?
Now, here's the thing. We're just having fun with Sam. Because I've been there. You've been there, Joan. First couple of days, frying pan into the fire. We didn't have a lot of notice. And Sam didn't have a lot of notice that he was going to have to do this shift. And there's a lot to this shift. I think this is the most complicated shift. I've heard from a number of different producers that will tell you that this is the most complicated shift on the radio station. I don't know why.
Well, because nobody's around while we're in the midst of it.
I'm a lovable fuzzball, like Rush Limbaugh said.
Sure,
It's just,
yeah.
I'm so easy to work with and all that kind of stuff. I never move commercials around. I'm never late for breaks. None of that stuff. So.
Oh, because they're back.
Mm-hmm.
Turd Ferguson has sent you a couple of.
Oh no!
Yeah,
because I said, oh no, because I said it was Turd Ferguson who got us banned from commenting on YouTube. Hey, did you hear real quick, Joan? What? Well, first of all, do I want to know what Turd says, and is it okay for the radio?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine.
What does Turd say?
He just said, let's see. I just sent Dan an instructional text. Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. He did.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He also blew me.
What did he instruct you to do?
Something about a middle finger.
Ah, gotcha.
I think something about sitting and spinning is what Turd Ferguson told me to do.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, did you hear what was found at the Nashville Stadium construction site?
I did. I have that story coming up in the next newscast. Yeah.
A noose.
A noose.
Now, can I just ask a question?
Does it feel like a racetrack or anything to you?
It does.
Yeah.
What was that dude's name? Bubba something or another?
Yeah, Bubba Watson.
So, number one, nowhere have I seen a photograph of said noose.
Exactly.
So they're offering a $250,000 reward.
This is amazing.
Are you kidding me? Really?
So my assessment of that is that they know they're not going to have to give that money to anybody, so they're offering they might as well offer $1 million because they know it's fake.
Well, here's my question: Is it?
And
really,
they're never going to have to give it away.
This is a construction site.
Yeah.
So how do they know it's a noose?
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, and listen, I'm sorry for being skeptical, but we went through Bubba Watson and we went through Jussie Smollett, right? Jussie Smollett. And both of those stories were just BS, absolute BS. And also, you know what? Oftentimes, whether it is, racial slurs and all, sometimes these are done by black folks.
It's Bubba
So-
Wallace, not Bubba Watson. Bubba Wallace.
Whatever. They're all that's race car drivers, whatever.
Well, no, one's a golfer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace and Bubba Watson?
Yeah. Bubba Watson is the golfer.
Okay.
Bubba Wallace is the race car driver.
Okay. And clearly somebody on the chat line told you that you shanked it.
No, no, actually, I looked it up because I get confused by the two all the time.
Okay, very good. So, but listen to this. So that's number one. I don't mean to be a skeptic, but we've seen this often. Now, it very well could be that some, raving, white supremacist lunatic decided for whatever reason to break into the stadium construction site to put a noose up. Or it could be something that looks like a noose, but it actually isn't.
Which was the case with Bubba Wallace.
Yes.
Because that was just one of the things that you pull a garage door down with.
Yeah. Or it could be just a whole big fabrication like Juicy Smollett. Yes. So apparently, counseling services have been made available to all workers, and additional anti-bias training for every person on site will be required, according to the Tennessee Builders Association.
So does the
Is that just
Tennessee
a-
Builders Association, by doing that, blame one of its workers?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, that ain't right.
No, it's not right. And I don't know, counseling services?
Counseling. Yes. Got to have counseling for
I don't-
everything.
I don't like.
Well, it may make you emotional to see and learn of such things.
It feels like a little bit of an overreaction. I'm sorry, but it does. And you don't even know, where is the photograph of said noose? I don't understand why, I mean, listen, people need counseling after seeing a rope. And I get it, whatever. I just think it's kind of silly. Work at the stadium will resume only after a site-wide stand down focused on inclusion and respect.
Which, of course, led the mayor to have some words to say about it.
Oh, what did he say?
I have it in my news coming up.
Can you play it?
No, not now.
Oh, just play it.
Really?
Yeah, just play. Come on, because I want to, feed my anger, Joan. Feed my anger.
All right.
And respect.
Oh, we're back at this again.
you got
Jeez
to you got to
almighty.
take YouTube out of the
Yeah,
out
I
of the
did.
thing.
I did. I was just so excited that we.
You know what the thing is
got
though?
our chat back.
How many workers are at the stadium?
There must be many because
It's got to
there
be hundreds or thousands.
Yes.
And,
Right.
and so one knucklehead. Let's just go. Let's just go with it was a noose. One guy decides that he's going to be a wise guy and throw down a noose. And so now all of those thousands of workers have to go through
Training.
the inclusion and respect training. Do you know what that is? That is a really good way to really kill any kind of positive morale there at the work site.
Okay, you want to hear the mayor?
Yes.
After I play it, you're going to forget about it because I'm going to play it again in 15 minutes, all right?
Okay.
So here we go.
Obviously, this is an environment where we want to try as hard as we can to prevent scenarios that might be fear or hate-based. We've taken some steps, both with local policy, state policy, in partnership with them to try, again, to keep temperatures low and prevent hate incidents like this.
All right.
He really didn't say a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, you know what? Well, it's the mayor.
Right.
It's very concerning. He says there's an open investigation. He says, I know the Titans are cooperating with our Metro Nashville police. We'll see what the investigation turns up. Listen, even if there is an actual noose, which they have not provided evidence to, I just feel like there's an overreaction. I just, a $250,000 reward, which as you very astutely said, Joan, that they'll never have to pay it because how are they going to find whoever this person is? I can't imagine there's a lot of cameras around a construction site. And we don't even know if it actually is a noose. That's number two. And again, I guarantee you, because when I started talking about Jussie Smollett, I was like, wait a minute. So dude is out on the coldest day in forever in Chicago. And he decides to run out to get a sandwich. And he runs into a couple of guys.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
At 2 o'clock in the morning. And he runs into a couple of guys that had, what was it? Was it bleach? Bleach.
A noose.
And a noose.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Yeah, right.
Who believe? And I remember at the time, I was on the air noon to 3. I said, who believes this? Who believes it? And oh, you should have seen it. I can't believe that guy on WTN calling this man a liar.
Oh,
liar,
really?
Liar, pants on fire. Oh, absolutely.
So these stories never pass the sniff test.
No, they don't.
Just like the Epstein letter that Donald Trump allegedly sent.
Oh, that's so dumb.
So all of these things, like, they never make sense.
Well, listen to this. 1285 says, Dan, a noose knot is used every day on construction sites for taglines, etc.
Oh.
Big difference between a hangman's noose knot.
What's a tagline?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe we need somebody to explain this to us.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, Sally says, I never thought I would live long enough to hear construction workers needing sensitivity training. Right? I mean, think about that. Let's see here. What else? People are.
Who's offering the $250,000 reward? A question is being asked. It's being offered by the Tennessee Builders Association.
Is that like a union?
I think so. Yes.
I don't. Yeah. All right. Whatever. Yeah, I think that whole thing is just funny.
Oh, this is good. Maybe it's just too hot outside to be working on a construction site, and they thought they'd have a plan for a few days off.
Oh, sure. Sure.
That was 8807. Thank you.
Very good. A tagline is a rope attached to a load, is what people are saying.
Okay.
All right.
Rope attached to a load.
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it. Whatever.
It prevents the loads from spinning or swinging during shifts, ensuring safety and preventing accidents.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Very good. Sam, is everything else fixed, or should you be turning your microphone on right now? See, I'm just kidding. This is how I make the new producers feel welcome. By the way, do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I noticed about Sam?
What is it?
Joan? He's got a great Donald J. Trump impersonation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to throw something down real quick, something real short, Sam? Throw us down a little DJT.
I don't know if it's great. Some people might say it's great. I'm not one of those people. It's fine. It's good.
All right. I'm digging it.
All right. You got to throw this in right? When Trump does that?
Yeah.
He does that. You got to throw that in every once in a while too. Other than that, yeah, I think it sounded good. By the way, Joan, we there's so much that we didn't talk about on Friday, which we actually could have spoken about.
So much. And this is the problem with Donald J. Trump being in office.
Mm-hmm.
So much happens in such a short span of time.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is a crazy. All right, so we can talk about the cancellation at some point during today.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the reaction to the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show on CBS.
Yeah.
Because people, of course, I know that you'll be shocked to hear this, is that people are blaming Donald Trump. They're saying that Donald Trump pressured CBS. I mean, these are, a sitting senator.
Yeah.
Has said that Trump is responsible for the cancellation of Stephen Colbert. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. Super text line is open. 615-737-9986. 615-737 WWTN. Got a lot of people chiming in on what exactly a noose would be used for on a construction site. Who knew that there were so many different. So you think this whole thing is just a bunch of fake news?
Yeah.
Fake news or overreaction?
Yeah, maybe an overreaction. If you want to be kind about it, yes, let's call it an overreaction. But do I believe that there really was a noose that was intended to scare people who are on the construction site? No, I don't.
And I believe that is why they have not, as far as I know. Now, maybe they have and I missed it. But I think this might be the reason why they haven't released a picture of it is because it wouldn't pass the smell test. But then why would they make such a big deal out of it? I just would. 5:51 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones has the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, remember the Afghan people who helped the U.S. military, and then after the disastrous withdrawal of U.S. troops, they were kind of stuck? We've got news on them coming up here and what President Trump plans to do to help them. Also, a woman's body found in Nashville. We've got the details on that as well. It's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Jesus came to earth the first time to save the world. The next time he comes will be to condemn the world and those who have refused to accept him as their Lord and Savior. Christians are co-heirs with Christ and possess full rights as sons and inherit salvation, eternal life, the earth, the kingdom of God, and all things. If you're not a Christian and have wondered about eternal life, God may be drawing you. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, for only God can save you.
No matter what I've ever done.
What I've ever done.
No matter what I've ever done.
No matter what you've ever done.
But what about?
No matter what you've ever done.
Even if?
You are no longer condemned, no matter what you have ever done. Non-cancelable, guaranteed reservation in heaven when you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Learn how now.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
.556, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. It is Monday, July 21st of 2025. And a couple of things real quick. Chris Hand, did our second podcast, Mostly Peaceful, with Dan and Chris. So if you would like to check it out later on in the day, feel free. I think pretty much everything that we spoke about is still relevant. So if you want to find that, you can on my social media, some of Chris's social media as well, some of the station's social media too. So check that out if you would. You know a guy named Michael Smerconish, don't you, Joan?
I worked for 4 years alongside Michael Smerconish.
So one of the things that I'm noticing is people who are not traditionally supporters of Donald Trump are coming out and saying Donald Trump is not the kind of guy to doodle a naked woman on this letter, right? We're talking about the whole Epstein thing, and we're going to get into all of that in more detail coming up. But Michael Smerconish actually said this over the weekend that I'm not so sure about this story from the Wall Street Journal. This is what he said.
It's hard to believe that the president would have written the imaginary conversation between himself and Epstein 22 years ago. I mean, listen to some of the back and forth. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret. That doesn't sound like something Donald Trump would write.
No, it does not sound like something Donald Trump would write. I think it's obvious to everyone involved. Do you know what's crazy? And I was talking about this on Red Eye, is that they don't even know where this particular book is with all of these various celebrities who had written messages to Jeffrey Epstein, including, by the way, Bill Clinton. They say that Bill Clinton, in the same leather-bound book that Ghislaine Maxwell supposedly put together for Jeffrey Epstein of all of his rich and famous friends with their 50th birthday messages, they have no idea where that book is. So how is it possible that the Wall Street Journal, even after Donald Trump said, if you do this, I will sue the living crap out of you, how is it, in what world does a legit news organization print such a story when nobody even knows where the book or the original document is? I mean, that sounds stunning. And yeah, I believe that Donald Trump should sue the living crap out of the Wall Street Journal. And quite frankly, I hope that he wins, just like he won with ABC and CBS. They settled. But, I mean, to me, that's a victory for Donald Trump. They don't even know where the book is. They don't even know if that book ever even existed. So I think the majority of the American people, and you know who else cast doubt on this story? Donald Trump's fixer, Michael Cohen, a guy that hates Donald Trump. He said, yeah, I don't think so. Elon Musk last week came out and said the same thing. All right, it's coming up on 6 o'clock. News with Joan Jones is straight ahead right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. Now 6 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 77 degrees right now. We have a slight chance of thunderstorms and a heat advisory with heat index values above 105 today. It's going to be a scorcher. Stick around for the weather with Stefano right after the news. A Nashville man out for a walk with his dog on Saturday morning discovered a woman's body covered in a garbage bag along Night Valley Drive near Harding Place.
An autopsy report shows the woman died from blunt force trauma and severe cuts. Detectives describe her as a white woman with black, curly hair who was about 5'10" and weighed 185 pounds. Police say she did not have any tattoos.
Channel 4's Amanda Hara there. Police have not been able to identify that woman yet, and they're hoping for help from the public to find her killer. Construction on the new Tennessee Titans Stadium is on pause while police investigate a noose that was allegedly found there on Friday. And now a $250,000 reward is being offered for information about who left it. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell, and make like you haven't heard this cut before.
Obviously, this is an environment where we want to try as hard as we can to prevent scenarios that might be fear or hate-based. We've taken some steps, both with local policy, state policy, in partnership with them to try, again, to keep temperatures low and prevent hate incidents like this.
The Tennessee Builders Alliance is also requiring additional anti-bias training for all of its employees. Over the weekend, the United Arab Emirates reportedly made an agreement with the Taliban to turn over the Afghans who had befriended and helped U.S. forces before the disastrous withdrawal by President Joe Biden. These 32 Afghans had been finding refuge in the UAE since then, living in a refugee camp in Abu Dhabi. Well, now President Trump in a Truth Social post said that he is going to attempt to save those Afghans, quote, starting right now. Just the News reports that Secretary of State Marco Rubio was intervening with the UAE to protect those Afghans. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Stock futures point to a higher start to the week, with investors anticipating earnings reports from Alphabet, Tesla, GM, and Coca-Cola this week. Stocks ended last week mixed, with the Dow and S&P slipping on Friday, the Nasdaq closing at a new all-time high. Auto giant Stellantis is out with preliminary figures showing a net loss of nearly $2.7 billion in the first half of the year. Astronomer CEO Andy Byron has resigned after he was caught last week on a big screen at a Coldplay concert embracing a woman who wasn't his wife. The board of directors of the tech company accepted Byron's resignation on Saturday. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Stock futures this morning look pretty good. The Dow futures are up 80 points. We've got NASDAQ futures gaining 58, and the S&P futures are plus 13 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. In Franklin, they're doing some construction work this morning on Lewisburg Avenue, both directions at Matt Hatcher Boulevard. And it looks like it's clear in that area, but that may be causing some delays. And it looks like it's starting to jam up now as you travel on 24 in the westbound lanes heading into Nashville. As you at the site where it merges with 40. That's what I was trying to say. It's Monday morning. So if you're traveling 24 or on 40 this morning, you can expect some delays at the merge. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:06 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Dan Mann is here along with Joan Jones. Sam Rutherford is here as well producing. Joan, I'm sure you saw, you and I have not spoken about it. I want to do this like 3 minutes.
Okay.
The CEO and the HR executive.
Yeah.
Do you know what's so funny? Had they just played it cool.
Right.
And not like ducked for cover, nobody would have been the wiser.
Yeah. Nobody
would have been the wiser. But there they are. And the singer for Coldplay didn't do them any favors by tweeting it out either.
And he even said, oh, these guys are either having an affair or I have something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just, whatever. And what's interesting, though, is, I don't know, if you're both having an affair, why would you be like out at a concert? I mean, usually they don't. I don't know. It just seems kind of silly to me to be,
very public facing,
being all lovey-dovey at a Coldplay concert and these are two fairly, well-known people in the sense that they are well-known in their industries.
Yes.
And there they were, loving, touching, squeezing at a Coldplay concert. Things were getting hot at the Coldplay concert.
What I really loved was the memes afterwards.
Oh, my gosh.
So the Philly Fanatic, have you seen that one?
No.
The two of my favorites are the Philly Fanatic, and there's a female Philly Fanatic, too. That's his wife. And they put that on. That was pretty funny. Also, the Savannah Bananas did one.
Did they really?
Oh, yeah. And they're just great,
Well, if you have some social media, Joan, maybe put them up.
Maybe I should put them up. All right. So I'm Joan P. Jones on Twitter.
So dude lost his job.
Yeah, he did. Well, he had to resign. I mean, and so did she.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you're the CEO and the HR person,
of all people,
get
the
any
HR
worse than that.
Of all the people you don't want to have an affair with in the office, it is the HR person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Man alive. So anyway, that's I was watching that and it's like, had you just had the clarity of mind to just play it cool.
Right.
But it's just like, the diving out of the out of the video was so funny. All right. Thank you, Joan.
Yeah.
6:09, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Accusations that Barack Obama set up Donald Trump for failure, or at least tried to, after the election of 2016. Big news has happened Friday after we got off the air. But here's the thing. Need some audio, Sam. So after we got off the air on Friday, one of the things that we talked about, and one of the things that everybody was talking about, was this story about how in 2016, Obama personally tried to figure out a way to derail Donald Trump's presidency. Now, we've been talking about this for a long time. Conservatives have been talking about this for a long time. Didn't necessarily have proof. I think there's plenty of evidence, but whatever. Not going to argue about that now. But Tulsi Gabbard now says that she has the receipts. And this is one of the reasons why the Democrats and Republicans didn't want Tulsi Gabbard in the D&I position, because they didn't want her going around and sticking her nose in the business of the intelligence agencies back during the Obama years, because they know that, some of this stuff, it just never goes away. And so now, apparently, she has found and she has declassified the receipts where she says Donald Trump was targeted by Barack Obama. Listen.
The implications of this are, frankly, nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected.
Yeah, they're looking at all the old documents and so forth, and she does say that, it's the usual suspects. You've got, of course, Obama. You've got John Brennan, James Comey, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. You got Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. All those people that we've long suspected of trying to set up Donald Trump should now be arrested. That's what Tulsi Gabbard says. They need to be arrested for what they did. This is from The Guardian. The post-election intelligence estimates contrasted with findings reached before the election, which indicated that Russia probably was not trying to interfere. So remember, when they thought that Hillary Clinton was going to win, no, Russia's not trying to interfere. And even if they did want to interfere, they don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the ability. And then after Donald Trump wins, what do they do? What did they do? They said, oh, yeah, Russia interfered. As a matter of fact, they did everything to try and set Donald Trump up for failure by basically setting him up and saying, oh, yeah, Russia was trying to not only interfere, but they did interfere. They colluded with Donald Trump.
As the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president, commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do.
Yep.
So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States.
Exactly. And that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to derail that Trump train in the first election. So you had the intelligence community, Obama's, that said that there was not an effort to interfere. Then Trump wins, and suddenly they have the Steele dossier that they said was proof, or at least suggested collusion, between Donald Trump and the Russians. Now, there's this thing in D.C. It is called an intelligence community assessment. And basically what it is it is a report by the intelligence community. Now, back in 2016, they said that there was a high confidence that there was collusion, but it was not based on any collected intelligence. It was based partly on this concocted Steele dossier. The dossier that was brought to the Obama administration and the FBI and the CIA by the Hillary Clinton campaign. All this ringing a bell? Remember when we all spoke about this? For years we spoke about this. And there were some CIA analysts at the time who said there is absolutely no way that Steele dossier concocted by Hillary should have been included in the intelligence community assessment. But it was. Even though even people included in the dossier were like, oh, there's no way what I said in that bar when we were all drinking and having a good time and joking about Donald Trump, there's no way that it should have been included in an official intelligence community assessment.
So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people.
I mean, honestly, that's what it was. It was a coup. And she says that Obama is the mastermind. Got a little bit more from Tulsi Gabbard straight ahead. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
And we are looking this morning at some delays if you're traveling on 24. Looks like in the Antioch area this morning, there is something happening on the roadway near Antioch. Careful in that area. Also, Franklin, it's construction work on Lewisburg Pike, both directions at Mack Hatcher Boulevard. And you'll probably run into some delays in that area as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as your weather today, man, oh man, it is going to be hot. Dangerous heat with the feels like temperature up over 105. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So The Trump administration, Tulsi Gabbard, looking for some Obama-sized handcuffs, saying that the former president should be indicted. He should be charged because they essentially tried to frame Donald Trump in colluding with the Russians. And the whole point was that they wanted to wrap Donald Trump in all of the special counsel investigations, accusing him of colluding with Russia. And as you know, friends, that is exactly what happened. Now, Democrats are out there saying, no, Donald Trump, he's off base on this one. Obama was not behind the Russia collusion allegations. They also will point out to you that multiple investigations have shown the Russians did interfere, and they were trying to help Donald Trump. So what I don't understand is they had the intelligence assessments before the election that said that Russia was not trying, nor did they have the ability to interfere or influence our elections. Well, then here we are many years later, and there's other intelligence that says that they did interfere and that they were trying to help Donald Trump. So which one is it? Which one is it? And by the way, there's a big difference, and I pointed this out at the time. This doesn't mean that Donald Trump was trying to work with Russia in that endeavor, just that they were trying. As a matter of fact, if you remember, friends, Russia approached the campaign of Donald Trump, and they had some sort of an olive branch outreach kind of a thing. And the Trump campaign said, we don't need your help. We don't want your help. We can win this thing fair and square. So in this discussion with Maria Bartiromo, she says that Tulsi Gabbard says that there was an intelligence assessment made for Obama, his daily briefing, that was actually pulled because of some, I'm air quoting here, because of some new information. And that new information was the dirty dossier. Listen.
In early December, the first week of December, again, another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published. Hours before it would have gone into President Obama's President's Daily Brief, it was pulled by a senior level intelligence official saying that they had to pull it because they had received new guidance. The very next day, this meeting was called, a National Security Council meeting, bring together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency. This document that they published in January of 2017 was the foundational groundwork that they continued to reference over and over and over again to enact this years-long coup against President Trump.
When you think about it, and some of you folks on the super text line, you're right there with me. Over and over again, Hillary Clinton, even today, Hillary Clinton will say that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians. She was the one behind the whole damn thing. She and Obama. And so when you talk about who's going to pay for this, who's going to be held accountable, well, I share with you, friends, a lot of skepticism. I don't believe that Obama nor Hillary will be taken away in handcuffs. I just don't, sadly. However, I think that, a public undressing of, well, not Hillary, but you know what I'm talking about, is holding them accountable without actually arresting them. Again, as much as I would love to say that they should be arrested, especially Obama, I don't believe that they will be. However, pointing it out and letting the American people know what the Democrats are capable of and have been doing, I think is incredibly important. I've got a lot more from Tulsi Gabbard straight ahead. It is 6:21 on Nashville's Morning News, and Joan Jones has the news coming up at 6:30. Joan, what you got?
Yeah, we'll tell you why there is a massive police presence in Antioch this morning. And also an unlucky skydiver in Tullahoma. Yeah, we've got those stories coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$620. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Busy Bee HVAC. Now, this is the company that I've been using for over a decade. This is a great company. And the thing that I've always loved about Busy Bee is that their mission is to provide great service and also always save you money. Like this month, you can save big time on Busy Bee's smart Wi-Fi water shutoff valve, only $12.49 this month. You buy a whole new HVAC system, you get a free air duct fogging and UV light home treatment. Plumbing problems? Well, Busy Bee has you covered there as well. $500 off a Halo 5 whole home filtration system. All kinds of ways to save with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Find them online at busybeehvac.com. And by the way, if you need some financing, how about 0% for 18 months with approved credit? Find them online again, busybeehvac.com, 615-775-7833.
How would you like to have Jesus Christ pray for you? Did you know that Jesus Christ does pray for you if you're a Christian? Hebrews 7:25 says, "Therefore he is able also to save forever those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them." In Scripture, intercession means to pray on behalf of. Jesus Christ is your advocate. An advocate comes to our aid or pleads our case to a judge, offering support and counsel and interceding for us when necessary. In other verses, Jesus calls the Holy Spirit our advocate. Just like you talk to yourself, when Jesus talks to himself, it's prayer. The Bible says no matter what you go through today, next week, or next year, Jesus is praying for you if you have trusted him as your Savior. He's on your side.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
627, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And good morning to you. A lot of people cynical, sitting here talking about whether or not Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, all of these folks, will they ultimately face any kind of indictment, any kind of consequences for what they did? Sadly, I don't believe that they will. I'm as cynical as a lot of you folks are. But if you're following along, and if you're just joining us, Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, is asserting that before the election and during the election of 2016, no indication Russia was trying to influence the election. After Donald Trump wins, a plan is set to play to hijack and kneecap Donald Trump's presidency. So Obama tells his intelligence agencies basically come up with a plan to prove that Russia and Donald Trump colluded. Enter the dirty dossier. It is then leaked to BuzzFeed. They print it, and that triggers the Mueller investigation.
But there's no question that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's presidency and subverting the will of the American people. So yes, next week we will be releasing more detailed information about how exactly this took place and the extent to which this information was sought to be hidden from the American people, hidden from officials who would be in a position to do something about it.
Oh, and let me tell you something. She's not done, not by a long shot. She had 100 documents that she is now unclassified. She is saying there is a lot more, as a matter of fact. And we can also look forward to some whistleblowers. So this is going to make, the former Obama officials and the former president himself, going to make them feel a little uncomfortable. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. 6:30 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There is a massive police presence in Antioch this morning as police are searching for a man who drove off from a traffic stop along I-24 at Old Hickory around 2 o'clock this morning. Channel 2's Peyton Kennedy.
Police say the car would get on and off the interstate. Eventually, the car quit, essentially, at the OHB overpass after about 45 minutes of driving. Police say a man then got out wearing a white T-shirt and dark pants and ran off towards this October Woods development.
So it's not clear if that driver has been found yet, but we're going to stay on top of the story and bring you any updates. In Tullahoma, a skydiver caught up in a tree on Sunday. Coffee County Emergency Management was called in to help rescue this guy after it was determined that he came down in an area that was too dense for a helicopter to get him down. 2 other skydivers who jumped at the same time, they landed safely. An Ole Miss freshman was killed in a shooting on Saturday night in Memphis. 18-year-old Corey Adams of New Orleans was found dead. He was inside a car that had been stopped by police. The shooting happened outside a home there in Memphis. Adams was set to begin his first year at Ole Miss and his first season playing on the Ole Miss football team. What were you doing when you were learning to walk? Well, a little boy in L.A. apparently was learning how to play the piano. And now at the ripe old age of 5, he's made his debut on the world-famous stage at Carnegie Hall. Alec Van Kadorgian is his name, and he spoke with reporters this weekend.
I was the first performer. I played 2 pieces, and I was so excited.
Yeah, now this kid can identify any note just by hearing it. It's something only a few people have the ability to do. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN
Thank you,
News.
Joan. 6:32, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Loan Pronto. Listen, if you are maxed out on credit cards, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. You can get cash out right now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto It is amazing. How amazing is it? You may ask. Well, one Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, they renovated their kitchen, and they cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Now, this is your home equity. You should use it. Get yourself in a better financial position. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call now to start that conversation. Tell him Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. Get debt relief right now. Find them online, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Unapproved credit, NMLS, consumeraccess.org.
Got some work going on in Franklin on Lewisburg Pike, both directions at Mac Hatcher Boulevard. Watch for delays there. Delays starting now on 24 in the Antioch area. In the Antioch area as you're making your way into Nashville this morning. Looks like 24 if you're traveling eastbound in the Joelton area. That's where you'll find some delays as well as you're making your way in to Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.636, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, talking about it seems like everything we're doing is going backwards. We're looking backwards, whether it is the situation with Epstein, whether it is the situation with Russiagate, Russia collusion, all those kinds of things. Tulsi Gabbard, DNI, coming out and saying that Obama was behind the whole thing. And she says, I've been playing you audio from this outstanding interview with Maria Bartiromo over the weekend, where Tulsi says, you know what? There's a lot more to come.
We have whistleblowers, actually, Maria, coming forward now after we release these documents, because there are people who were around, who were working within the intelligence community at this time, who were so disgusted by what happened. We're starting to see some of them come out of the woodwork here, because they too, like you and I and the American people, want to see justice delivered. So we're going to provide everything that we have, everything that we will continue to gather to the Department of Justice for that direct intent and that direct purpose.
Well, that is Tulsi Gabbard. She has her goals. Matthew Hurt is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline, our grassroots political analyst. Matthew, thanks for joining us on this Monday morning. So what do you think? Last time we spoke, this was not in the news. And so Tulsi Gabbard coming out and saying that the whole Russia collusion thing all came from the direction of Barack Obama.
Well, Dan, this is shocking, but not entirely surprising. The release that DNI Gabbard put forward last Friday shows a pretty interesting timeline. So prior to the election, there was the intelligence community released a report saying Russia was probably not trying to influence the election. And then from December 7th of 2016 to January 6th of 2017, under the direction of then President Barack Obama, these moves were made in the intelligence community to change the narrative using discredited sources like the Steele dossier. What you may not remember, Dan, and what your listeners may not remember, is the Steele dossier, the raw intelligence collected for the Steele dossier, was collected by a gentleman by the name of Igor Danchenko, who was an FBI informant who worked at left-wing think tanks in the D.C. area. It's somebody who I have come across in public interactions, and he was acquitted or found not guilty just a couple of years ago of lying to federal informants. So this is a tangled web of D.C. drama, and it all looks like it's going back to President Barack Obama in those key 4 or 5 weeks between the 2016 election and when Donald Trump was sworn in January of 2017.
It's interesting because I think a lot of people are cynical about all of this. The Steele dossier, of course, also coming from the Clinton campaign, and even people that were mentioned or even quoted in the Steele dossier had come out. If I remember at the time, they said, I can't believe that they put our quote or our information in the Steele dossier because it was just a bunch of guys, kind of like drunken bar talk kind of a thing. And so,
well, Dan, as somebody who has had drunken bar talk with the gentleman who collected the raw intelligence for the Steele dossier, I can, with a high degree of certainty, share with your audience, probably exclusively, that a lot of the stuff that was produced in that document was, in fact, drunken bar talk, having a couple of beers at an Irish bar and sharing stories and embellishing, and then it being funneled into what the Clinton campaign ultimately used.
Yeah, and okay, so you hung out with this Igor guy?
Yeah,
Igor Danchenko?
I moved from Tennessee to the D.C. area in 2009, and Igor was one of the first people I met in the D.C. area at a reception at the Embassy Suites, a hotel near Embassy Row, and came to believe over the years that he was in fact collecting information about political actors in D.C.
Wow, that's interesting. That is really interesting. So as we move forward, one of the things that I mentioned coming back from the break or going into the break, whatever it was, is that like everything in the news is looking backwards. And so I want to get to looking forwards here in a second. But do you believe that anything is going to come of what DNI Tulsi Gabbard is ultimately looking for, which is indictments and prosecutions, Obama, being led away in handcuffs and all of these things? I'm just a little cynical because a lot of these investigations ultimately, they don't really lead to very much.
That's a great question, Dan. I think that when you get to somebody at the level of the president, current President Donald Trump, or past presidents, there's a broad level of immunity or deference that the courts tend to bestow upon these individuals. Something as benign as Joe Biden couldn't stand trial because he's a doddering grandfatherly figure, to the other broad immunity that presidents and executives have. I'm sort of in the same boat you are with that.
All right, let me ask then Epstein. Let's now go to Epstein. Talk about this note that the Wall Street Journal is reporting on, this third-person fake conversation between Trump and Epstein that was on the piece of paper, and the drawing. Supposedly there's a drawing of a naked woman, and Donald Trump did it, and you got the signature of Donald Trump, and it's right where, the pubic hair would be. Is what it is. I've got to say it because it's news. But you've got people that have traditionally not been supporters of Donald Trump, but know Donald Trump. Elon Musk is one, of course. Michael Smerconish is another. Even Michael Cohen, right, who hates Donald Trump, has come out and said, yeah, this isn't Donald Trump, man. It's just not.
Well, we have seen over the last 25 years or so across stories this where information has been released, primary or secondary sources, and we find out that those sources have been forged or fakes. This is rather interesting, though, to have such a broad spectrum of folks from Michael Smerconish and Michael Cohen and Elon Musk and others to say this just doesn't sound like Donald Trump. So I'm skeptical of this. I think, if something like this were to be in existence and be legitimate, we probably would have seen it earlier. And so, again, I'm a little skeptical about this bit of information that's come forward through the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, I think Donald Trump is right. I mean, when he comes out and he says, I'm going to sue them, or you, talking to the Wall Street Journal, I'm going to sue you if you publish this. And the thing, and I mentioned this earlier, you're talking about a binder full of messages from, really rich people, including, by the way, Bill Clinton. And they don't even have the actual document. That is stunning to me that they would print this. If I'm the journalist, I'm not printing that story because I don't have the original document. It's all based on hearsay.
Well, and what comes out when you actually file a lawsuit like this in the process of discovery is not only primary sources, if they exist, but also any additional information that attorneys ask for. So then you start to broaden, the Donald Trump suit may broaden what it asks for, and many of these things would then make it into the court system, which would then be discoverable by the general public. So there's a lot of things that could make the news. If President Trump moves forward and this moves into the court system. What usually happens when people, especially high-power people, threaten to sue is their targets tend to back off. I think this is likely headed toward discrediting, and again, very skeptical of what they decided to do here.
646, Matthew Hurt is joining us coming up. All right, so is Donald Trump still doing really well in the polls, or is he not? And does it matter? Time to check the roads on WTN. At 646, it is going to be really hot today. They say it's going to be dangerous heat today, over 105 as far as the feels like. So stay inside and stay cool. It is 647, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. All right, so Matthew Hurt, over the weekend, Daily Mail came out with a poll. I'll spare you all the details. Our time is limited. Daily Mail coming out with a poll saying that Donald Trump is still really, really supported by the Republicans, by men, and by independents, faltering a little bit with women. CNN has a poll today. I don't even know what the heck it is, but CNN's got a poll that says that, Donald Trump's popularity is sinking. We've seen other polls as well. I mean, who's, and all of this, of course, based on Epstein. Who's right?
I think, again, as I've said on this show a dozen times or more, one poll is a snapshot, and multiple polls tell a story. I do think the Epstein narrative has probably eaten into Republican support a little bit. It's probably not significant, but it may be a little bit. But again, we are. It is almost the end of July. We're 15 months out before people start cluing in on the next election. And so this is going to be just one or several polling points that tell a story. And if we come out on the other side of this, or if President Trump comes out on the other side of this, through the revelations through Tulsi Gabbard and economic success that we're seeing, policy success that we're seeing, then these polls are just a blip in history and won't matter that much.
Yeah, you know what, and I to be honest with you, I don't necessarily even like talking about the polls because of exactly that reason. I know you and I have spoken about it before, where one poll is going to be saying that he's up and another polls are going to be saying that he is down. Let's move on. I thought it was interesting. There was a story in the New York Times, and the Democrats are doing this autopsy on the 2024 presidential election. And what struck me was the fact that they're not going to delve into a couple of different aspects of the 2024 election. One, they're not going to discuss Joe Biden's disastrous decision for the Democrats to stay in the race as long as he did. They're also not going to look into whether or not Kamala Harris was even running a good campaign. Instead, they're going to focus on the super PACs and their spending and their messaging. They're completely ignoring Kamala Harris and whether or not she was the right person for the job, whether or not the Democrat Party actually made the right decision in not even having any kind of primaries at all, and her own messaging, or even did she run a good campaign? Why would they not focus on Kamala Harris? I've got an idea, and I'm going to run it past you. I'm going to say, Matthew Hurt, that the Democrats don't want to look at that because it would force them then to talk about the shortcomings of Kamala Harris as a candidate when they might actually be running her in 2028.
Oh, Dan, I think that is a reasonable expectation. But the question is, if they're holding this autopsy, who the heck is the coroner? Rolling Stone had a really good piece over the weekend. The headline was "Nothing to See Here. Democrats are preparing a deliberately incomplete 2024 election autopsy." And if you don't look at President Biden at the time, his mental capacity, if you don't look at the process by which the Democrats selected their nominee, if you don't look at Kamala Harris's campaign and the way she disconnected with communities in Philadelphia and in Michigan and other places, then you aren't going to paint a complete picture, and you're not going to be able to move forward honestly, understanding the shortcomings of the last campaign. So it is absolutely a waste of millions of dollars, which I'm perfectly fine with, the Democrats wasting millions of dollars putting together a completely incomplete autopsy. But they're not going to learn what they should learn, and they won't be able to implement those strategies in 2026, 2028, and beyond.
I think part of it, too, is that they don't want to look at their party and how, in my opinion, it is rampant with anti-Semitism, because you've got to talk about whether or not Kamala was the right candidate. Would Josh Shapiro have been better at the top of the ticket? Certainly, he would have been better than Tim Walz as a VP candidate, but that would mean they would have to acknowledge their anti-Semitism because Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania governor, is Jewish.
Well, that, and it would completely debunk and destroy DEI. We conservatives often throw around DEI hire as a pejorative, but it was very clear from the selection of Kamala Harris in the 2020 campaign to her ascension or selection as nominee in 2024 that she was a DEI selection. Joe Biden made that clear when he announced who he would be selecting, and this would completely destroy and dismantle the Democrats' allegiance to DEI as a policy at the national level.
All right, 6:52, and Matthew, how can people find you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter or X at Matthew Hurt, MattheWhurtt.
All right, we'll talk to you probably later on in the week. I always love your analysis. And Joan has the news at 7. Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, we'll tell you what DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has to say about Nashville's mayor. Also, TBI closes its investigation into Impact Plastics. That's that company where 6 employees died during Hurricane Helene. We've got those stories coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.653 on WTN. Dan Mandis here for Xfinity. Listen, we all know about storms in Middle Tennessee. Now, they can happen quick, and they can really disrupt our lives. Thankfully, for all of us, there is Xfinity. Now, they can help you stay connected even when the power is out, keeping you informed and your family in the know. Storm-ready Wi-Fi from Xfinity, they can help you stay reliably connected with unlimited cellular data to back you up and keeps your home online. With free, unlimited cellular data, Storm-ready Wi-Fi will also automatically switch over to cellular data during those outages. Heck, even on sunny days, it keeps working for you by extending your Wi-Fi network and reducing dead spots, like, for example, out by the pool. Xfinity is the first internet provider in America to keep you connected through outages with unlimited cellular data. Check them out today. Storm-ready Wi-Fi only from Xfinity. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 1-800-XFINITY, online xfinity.com, or stop into a store today.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
6:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, I'm not quite sure what to do here.
Okay.
But we have someone that has called in unexpectedly on the Newsmaker hotline.
Okay.
Michelle Obama is on the phone.
No.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask her, Michelle, do you want Barack Obama, your husband of many years, to go to jail?
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said.
Apparently, she says that a lot.
I listen. I don't know if you're married to Barack, would you want him to go to jail?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're used to it.
Was that a long way to go? Was that a long way to go for that little joke?
Yeah, it pretty much was.
Wait. No, hold on. Was that a long way to go for that joke?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. The one thing I'll agree with Michelle Obama on.
Mm-hmm.
Long way to go for that joke. By the way, we have a bit of a controversy. Very quickly, Joan.
A controversy here on Nashville's Morning News?
Apparently, people are accusing, with the podcast with me and Chris, Mostly Peaceful with Dan and Chris, they're accusing me of lowering my voice on the podcast because apparently my voice is lower on the I have not listened to it, but apparently my voice is lower on the podcast than it is on the radio. It's not a controversy, friends. They have better microphones in the podcast studio than they do in our actual radio studio. Go figure.
Uh-huh.
Michelle Obama, does that make sense? Mm-mm.
None at all.
That was me, not Michelle Obama. Anyway, all right, got a lot more straight ahead. It is Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. An off-duty U.S. Border Patrol agent is now recovering after he was shot in the face during a botched robbery in a New York City park. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has more.
The agent was shot in the face and the arm, but managed to return fire, hitting the gunman in the leg. The suspect, 21-year-old Miguel Mora, later walked into a hospital and is now in custody. Authorities say he's a Dominican national who entered the country illegally through Arizona in 2023 and was ordered deported last fall. Since then, they say he's been arrested multiple times for domestic violence, was wanted for a robbery and a stabbing. He was also wanted for a kidnapping in Massachusetts.
Meantime, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is joining the long list of people condemning Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell over his interference with ICE agents attempting to remove violent illegal immigrants.
This guy's priorities are completely screwed up, and he doesn't deserve to be a mayor. And he needs to stop and knock it off and grow up and act like a leader and start sending his law enforcement officers to have our backs.
She says those removed in an operation earlier this year, 90 of them were convicts, including known MS-13 gang members, child rapists, and murderers. Now, O'Connell contends that the internet posting of the names of ICE agents operating in Nashville was a mistake. Local news, we're in for it this week when it comes to stifling heat and humidity.
Dangerous heat and humidity all week long. Heat index values should range between about 100 to even 110 degrees. As of right now, the heat alerts are as followed. We have excessive heat warnings in effect for parts of northwest Middle Tennessee and southwestern Kentucky. Across a good amount of the mid-state, heat advisories are in effect, the exception being out in the Cumberland Plateau and some areas in southern Kentucky.
Yeah, Stefano's got the full forecast coming up right after the news. A woman's body was found on the side of a road on Saturday morning in Nashville.
The man found the body while he was walking his dog yesterday morning. This was on Night Valley Drive near Harding Place. When officers got there, they say that the body was covered by a garbage bag. Following an autopsy, detectives say they believe she died from blunt force trauma and severe lacerations.
That's Channel 4's Courtney Allen. Metro Police say that woman is white with black curly hair, 5'10", weighing 185 pounds, and she had no tattoos. They're hoping the public can help identify her. TBI has determined that no laws were broken when 6 employees from Impact Plastics were killed during Hurricane Helene flooding last year. The families of those who died have sued. They say the company didn't take preventive measures despite being in a known flood zone. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures all pointing up, with the Dow futures up 97, NASDAQ futures gaining 54, S&P futures are plus 14. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Got road work on Lewisburg Pike in Franklin, northbound between or right at Mac Hatcher Boulevard this morning. It's blocked there for road work. You may need an extra moment to get around that. Looks like things are slowing down on 24 in the Laverne area heading into Nashville, and things are slow after the merge between 24 and 65 north of the city. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.706 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan, do you think that our mayor is shedding tears over what Kristi Noem had to say about him?
I don't think so, no.
I think they use that as like a badge of honor.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. He loves that.
Yeah, they do. So, whatever. But, it was the same thing with you were without a voice on Friday. But Friday, we spoke about everybody's favorite, numbskull here in Nashville, Justin Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Where he had to be escorted from the airport.
Yeah.
And people actually thought it was funny when I said, Justin was probably asking the airport security to, do him a solid and throw him down to the ground and give him the Padilla treatment.
Yes, exactly.
He was waiting for that. He was wishing and hoping and praying for that. And I love that the airport security is like, dude, just leave. Just leave. That's all we need you to do. And to his credit, I guess he did just leave as, he should have. But the whole thing was, as we all know, performative.
Oh, yeah.
that is what Justin Jones does. And so, this is just, they can't get any attention in Tennessee any other way. And so this is what they do. And we'll have to see, where the, what the next thing he decides to do is. But for the folks across Tennessee, I think that in my heart, you know how Murphy Show does nincompoops in the news?
Yeah.
In my heart, my all-time nincompoop in the news will be Justin Jones.
And he seems to earn it like once a week.
It is. It's like he's like a 5-star moron is what he is. Hey, real quick. Barack Obama, Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam has reminded me, do you remember way back when with Kimmel where Obama used to read, it's like, what was it, slow jams in the news or something that, or whatever it was?
Yeah.
So this was Barack Obama trolling Donald Trump before the election.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Wow. Don't you just love that?
Yeah.
That's why he was so mad, and that's why he tried to, take out Trump's first, couple of years, wrapping him up in the Mueller investigation. So, the more that we talk about it, the more that, and I've been covering it, today with Tulsi Gabbard saying she's got the receipts on Barack Obama, all that craziness, Russian collusion, did start with Barack Obama. So now she says that she does have the receipts. She's got whistleblowers as well, people that are within the former Obama intelligence agencies that now do want to come out and say, yeah, you know what? We were there. We saw all this going on, and we're disgusted by it. So this is going to be a really, really fun story to watch. It is 7:10 on Nashville's Morning News. There is a cultural thing, Joan, going on with the cancellation, need some audio if I could, with the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show on CBS.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And
so in response to the cancellation, Jimmy Kimmel posted this out on X. He sends his support to Colbert in an Instagram story, actually. The 57-year-old wrote, "Love you, Stephen. F you and all your Sheldons, CBS." So that, of course, the F you and all your Sheldons is in response to the network, their various spin-offs of The Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
But I hate to break it to you, Jimmy Kimmel, but that show's actually working. So people are now really angry and upset, and they're trying to make political hay out of all of this when it is clear that this was nothing more than a business decision. But the Democrats, they will try to take out Donald Trump at every turn. This is Democrat Senator Chris Murphy over the weekend blaming Donald Trump for the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show.
So I want to tell you why the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's show matters so much. We are on the precipice of entering a censorship state in which Donald Trump is using the powers of the federal government in order to erase criticism from the airwaves.
Do you know what's so funny? Weren't we already in the censorship state when people were posting on Facebook and other social media about COVID and vaccines and where the virus came from, the lab? And weren't all those people, they had their accounts throttled or outright suspended? And that was at the behest of the intelligence, I should say the FBI. You had, Facebook cooperating. This happened, yes, during the Trump and the Biden administration. And it was all at the behest of the federal government. So I'm sorry, but we're already kind of used to this whole censorship state. But this guy keeps on going, and he's trying to say that Donald Trump is censoring people when clearly, in my opinion, he's not.
What's happening at CBS right now is bone-chilling. CBS's parent company, Paramount, is trying to get a merger approved, and they need that merger to be approved by the Trump administration. And so in a variety of different ways, Paramount is providing monetary and political favors to Donald Trump. First, they settled a totally bogus lawsuit that they would have won in a walk in court that was filed against them by Trump. They essentially just paid him $16 million personally.
So that lawsuit, just so you know, is the one where CBS deceptively edited that Kamala Harris interview so that she, quite frankly, wouldn't look as dumb on that answer regarding Israel. And so Donald Trump sued, and they settled. Now, many within CBS, including folks over there at 60 Minutes, are saying that they're trying to appease Donald Trump so that his administration will approve the sale of the company. And I think that for a lot of people looking at this, you realize, number one, that it's actually not Donald Trump that approves this sale. It's the FCC, which is an independent authority.
Then Paramount went to 60 Minutes, their flagship news program, and told them to stop criticizing Donald Trump so much. Why? Because they need this merger approved. And then finally, they have now canceled Stephen Colbert's show, knowing that Stephen Colbert was a nightly thorn in the side of Donald Trump.
So that's what people at 60 Minutes have said. But here's the deal. They've said that Donald Trump is demanding that 60 Minutes take it easy on him. But if you watch 60 Minutes, you know that almost every single Sunday night, they're going after Donald Trump. They're still doing very news-driven pieces on that show regarding Trump. And oftentimes, they are negative. And so the Colbert thing, that show has been flat out unsuccessful financially. It is literally underwater. He was making $15 million a year. They had, can you imagine this, Joan? 200 plus people working on one, is that a 1 hour show? Is that how long they are?
Yep.
What the heck? Do you know that when I fill in on like WMAL in Washington, D.C., they've got like a producer, they've got a call screener, they've got an executive producer as well. I don't know what to do with all those people. I feel pressure. It's like I've done all my own work.
And they have a news person.
And so, I mean, they have a staff of over 200 people. Again, Colbert, $15 million a year. And so production costs, they say, were $100 million a year. And it was operating at a $40 million deficit. Now, Senator Chris Murphy, he won't tell you that. Even though that has clearly been in the news for, I mean, since this whole thing happened on, what was it, Thursday night? When Colbert came out and he said, they've canceled my show. And right when he announced it that morning, I mean, I shared with you the information about how the show was underwater. And I do understand that the show was doing really well in a rating standpoint. But if you're not pulling in the Benjamins, nobody cares about the ratings. I mean, that is where these networks are these days. Got a lot more on this. It is 7:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you, Mason. As far as your weather goes, a high of 92, 93. It's going to feel like 105. So dangerous heat today, and so be careful and stay hydrated. And appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News.
Do you know in Washington D.C., where there's an NPR station, a radio station. The station was at 1111 North Capitol Street. So very pricey real estate, right?
Okay.
They had an office building, 400,000 square feet.
An NPR station?
Yes.
400,000 square feet.
10-story office building in excess of 400,000 square feet.
Did they really need all that? Clearly not.
Do we? Hold on. We have how many different stations in one building?
What do we got? 5? Is it 5? We got 2 country, sports, talk, and Q. So that's 5. Yeah, we got 5 stations here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty small.
It is.
And yeah, and we don't have they had like a gourmet kitchen where they, would make wonderful lunches for the employees.
That's our tax dollars at work.
That's our tax dollars at work.
So they deserve to be defunded. And as it relates to Colbert, Gutfeld was on the other night, and he's like, we have like 15 people working on this show. Yeah. 15.
Yeah.
And so, and when you look at the quality, I'm just going to say it. When you look at the quality of Colbert's monologues, they simply put were not funny. Now, here's the thing, is that Gutfeld is doing fantastic. He's on Fox News. He's actually funny. But does it make sense to you, Joan, when I say that Colbert was on the network, CBS, that it was really dumb for him to alienate half the audience because he's on the network where he's supposed to appeal to everyone, like Johnny Carson did and Jay Leno did. Does that make sense? Does people understand that? I hope they do.
Like you and I might understand it, but Samuel, how old are you?
29.
Okay, so do you remember watching David Letterman?
Yes.
You do? Okay. How about Johnny Carson?
Because of what I study, I have gone back and I've watched clips of him. And my parents are flower children of the 60s and 70s, so they... I grew up with them telling me stories about stuff with Johnny Carson.
So we all know that if you're on a network like CBS and not cable, you're supposed to be more broad. You're supposed to, cast to everyone.
And having a friendly demeanor, like both, all of these guys had a friendly demeanor. I mean, Letterman went off the deep end at the end, but they had this friendliness about them that was inviting.
Yeah.
Colbert is not a friendly guy.
He's just an a-hole, what he is.
Yeah.
Gutfeld, by the way, 3 million viewers.
Yeah.
Total, and 365,000 in the 25-54 age range, the coveted 25-54. Colbert, 1.9 million, 280,000 viewers in that coveted range. I think that if Colbert wanted to, he could go over to MSNBC and do what Gutfeld is doing on Fox News. And he'd probably be, do you think he'd be successful? I think he'd be successful.
I mean, it's their audience, sure.
Yeah. I mean, go and do all the anti-Trump stuff you want. And, look how well that worked out for Air America. That's an industry joke. Air America. Air America was a left-leaning radio network full of people like, Keith Olbermann was on there, and Rachel Madcow was on there, and all these other people. Failed miserably. Ed Schultz was on Air America too.
Wow.
And it didn't last, not very long at all. But anyway, back to Chris Murphy, the senator. He talks about the evils of big corporations controlling the flow of information.
This is all clearly designed to get their merger approved so that their millionaire and billionaire owners and investors who are already filthy rich can become even more filthy rich. This is what happens when these massive corporations control the flow of information.
Now, here's what's funny about that. Where was Chris Murphy complaining about the flow of information and these big evil corporations when they were all covering for Joe Biden? You know what I mean? Because we were all on talk radio. We're like, what is it that we see about Joe Biden's clear cognitive decline that these networks and their newscasts don't see? They were covering for Joe Biden. So I didn't see Senator Chris Murphy talking about the evils of those big corporations controlling the flow of information then. It is only now. No, he was not calling them out, obviously.
This is a really, really dangerous moment. Stephen Colbert didn't get thrown off the air because he wasn't doing well. He was the highest rated show on TV in late night. He was canceled, very likely, because Paramount and its owners are trying to get rich off of this merger, and Donald Trump has made it clear to them and everybody else in the media space that if you want any favors from me, then you have to silence my critics on your platforms.
So there you go. So people are trying to make this about Donald Trump and the merger. And here's the last thing that I'll say about this. And I think you probably, actually, I know you've been through this, Joan, I think. You ever been through a group sale or a station sale?
Yes.
So when they do that, whether you're talking about a Fortune 500 company or a media company, they go through the books like with a fine-tooth comb. And they want to look at what's working and what's making money and what's not. And whatever's not making money, even if the ratings are splendid, if it's not making money, then they don't want that show.
Right.
Right? It's pretty ruthless, to be perfectly honest
It
with you.
is. It's awful.
Yeah. And nothing matters except for the bottom line. And in the case of Colbert, you had a bloated staff, you had an arrogant and I don't know what else to call a Colbert, just, somebody who was going to say anything he wanted to say, regardless of what the company said. And I think that they decided that he's not pulling in the money and he's not behaving. And this thing, it's got high ratings, but we're not making any money on it. So why do we continue to produce it? And the people at Skydance are probably like, yeah, we don't want this headache. We want this headache gone by the time we get in. And that is exactly what happened. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump. 724 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, what's coming up?
Dan, coming up here in the news, Texas rescuers have just dramatically reduced the number of people still missing after those flash floods. And also, what a pilot did on Saturday that took everyone on board his plane by surprise. We've got all of that more coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Man is here, 725. And listen, guys, if you are over 40, if you're running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off, lowtcenter.com is where you need to go. Get started with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. They've got clinics all over Nashville, Low T Center does, and they're really easy to get to. Now, you walk in, you see a real medical provider, you get that energy back. No complicated process, just results. And remember, these treatment plans are tailor-made just for you. And you can get treatments at the clinic, or you could be treated at home. But either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care at Low T Center. Now, right now, you can get a free consultation, and if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. By the way, they can also help with prescription and weight loss options as well. So head on over to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That is lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it. 729, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Joan.
Yes.
I've been called an a-hole. I've been called arrogant and self-righteous.
I've seen some of those texts, and I'm a little disturbed by that.
Listen, you can call me whatever you want, but for the love of all that is holy, do not call me arrogant. If there's one thing that I'm not, it is arrogant because, as you know, Joan, I hate everything that I do. That is not a sign of arrogance. That is a sign of massive insecurity. After the show, what am I doing? After every show, what do? I'm down underneath the console in the fetal position because I think I shanked the entire show.
Oh, I thought that was you just drinking margaritas under the desk.
No, well,
no.
Maybe that too.
Okay.
Anyway, I have a very special message for a very special listener coming up next. It is 7:30 on WTN. $7:31, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Also coming up, Joan, Tim Burchett was on with ABC over the weekend talking about this whole Epstein thing. Love what he had to say. All of that and a whole lot more straight ahead. What we're going to do, Sam, is I'm going to go ahead and tell Joan to start the newscast right now. No more sounders. Joan, 7:31, what's going on?
Yeah, in Texas, the state legislature is planning a special meeting today. Governor Greg Abbott is going to address flood warning systems, communications, and infrastructure with lawmakers. It comes after a surprise assessment from the rescuers who are still out there searching for those missing after the devastating flooding there in Texas.
That number of missing people has dropped dramatically, and what we're expecting to hear from that special session is critical because from hard-hit county of Kerr County, that is where the number of people believed to be missing has dropped from nearly 100 to 3. That's a major difference. Overall in Texas, 7 people are still reported missing from these historic floods, and at least 135 people, including those children, have died from this 4th of July weekend tragedy.
ABC's Melissa Aiden reporting there. A fast-thinking pilot performed an aggressive maneuver. It was done to avoid colliding with a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber over North Dakota on Saturday night. Now, it shocked passengers, and it led that pilot to apologize to them.
Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all.
Yeah, he said it is not normal at all. That SkyWest Airlines pilot said he had no prior warning of military air traffic. As we start another week of temperatures in the mid to upper 90s, just a reminder to always check the back seat for kids or pets before leaving a vehicle. Now you can also pick up a free placard to hang from your rearview mirror. It reminds drivers to check the back seat. You can pick them up at any health or police department in Tennessee. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:33, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I want to tell you about my friends at Zentex. Yes, my upstairs bathroom has holes in it. It needs a lot of work. It is really ugly. My friends at Zentex, they can help me and they can help you as well. If you've got a bathtub that needs work, maybe that needs updating or upgrading, maybe you even need to convert it into a walk-in shower, Zentex, they can help you. They've been in business since 2001. Now, these types of home improvements, as you know, can really increase the value of your home. Zentex can have it wrapped up in a day. Now, this is an award-winning company that offers limited lifetime warranties for both their products and their installation. You can make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower complete with grab bars and a bench seat. This is a great way to help the older folks in your life who need that assistance support. So fix, remodel, or convert that bathtub into a shower today with Zentex. That phone number, 629-258-7747, 629-258-7747. And a great deal going on right now. You mentioned WTN. You are going to get $1,750 off or no interest for 24 months, whichever works best for you. No payments for 2 years. Zintex.com, Zintex, Zintex.com. Traffic is coming up in just a minute. Listen, specialty coatings, if you're a business owner and you've got a concrete floor that needs a lot of work, if it's ugly, well, that's a reflection of your business. You've got to look at your floor and you've got to think about what your customers are thinking when you walk in, when they walk in. Now, my friends at Specialty Coatings, they can help. They specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete, and they've been doing it for 30 years. Now, you've probably walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coating. They've done work in all the major sports stadiums, the arenas, the convention centers as well. You know, just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and so much more. Specialty Coatings, they're not some fly-by-night company. A couple of guys show up with a bucket and a roller. No, they've got the equipment and the skilled installers to do the job right. Each project is customized to your building, your business, and your needs. So call them, Specialty Coatings. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-591-9491, 615-591-9491. Email them, sales@specialtycoat.com. That's sales@specialtycoat.com. And that website, check out their handiwork, specialtycoat.com.
Got the roadway blocked off in Franklin this morning on Lewisburg Pike northbound between Mac Hatcher Boulevard and Carnegie Park Drive. That's some road work going on there. Nashville at Brick Church Pike and Ewing Drive, there is a crash reported. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.738, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, very quickly, Joan, a special good morning and happy birthday to maybe one of our youngest listeners.
Oh.
Nora is turning 8 today.
Oh, hey, Nora, 8.
That's right.
Whew.
Now, listen, Nora, don't ever smoke because you'll sound like Joan Jones today.
Well, there's the whiskey too. I mean,
there's the cigarettes and the whiskey. That's
right.
Exactly right. So anyway, happy birthday to little Nora. That is awesome.
Happy birthday, Nora.
All right, real quick. By the way, the whole whiskey and cigarettes thing.
We were kidding.
Yes, we are. Well, no, we don't want her to drink whiskey and cigarettes.
Well, oh, that's true. Yeah.
Cigars.
I've told you. I've told you real quickly my story of trying to get into broadcasting school. Have I told you about that?
No.
People that have listened for a long time know this story, but it's been a few years. I tried to get into this broadcasting school called LA Broadcasters out of high school. And because I wanted to be like a radio DJ or whatever. And I wanted to get into this broadcasting school. They wouldn't take me because my voice was too high. And I've told the story about the guy in the Hawaiian shirt who just looked at me and he said, I remember this to this day. And he shook his head and he said, we have a great production program too, where you can produce commercials and do all those fun things. But he said, I don't hear you on the radio. And man, I was
You were devastated. Yeah.
I was devastated.
Oh, yeah.
I was so bummed. And I've often
So
wondered,
they wouldn't even take your money?
No, that's how bad I was, Joan. They wouldn't even take my money.
I'm sorry, Dan.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about it. They wouldn't even, I was so bad, they wouldn't even rip me off. That's how bad I was. And yet somehow, here I am. I wish I could find that
Yes.
Hawaiian shirt guy.
Send him a photo of your Marconi Award.
That's I don't even know who it was.
In your face, mister.
Yeah.
Like that kind of a thing.
So listen, Nora, if she's still listening, know that you might have the odds stacked against you in whatever you want to do in life, but, you never quite know what's going to happen.
Just think of Dan.
What is it Casey Kasem used to say? Keep something about reaching for the stars.
Oh, yeah.
Something about that when he wasn't yelling about dead dogs in his show. Hey, moving right along. 741 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so the whole Epstein thing, and we've been talking about, bouncing between a whole bunch of different topics this morning. But there's, big news with the whole Epstein thing. There's the Wall Street Journal, the report there, and, Donald Trump demanding that Pam Bondi get that grand jury information out. I mean, there's things that are going on. But Tim Burchett was on with ABC, of course, Tennessee's own Tim Burchett, congressman, eastern part of Tennessee. And he was on with ABC, and he says, listen, I want the Epstein stuff released just like the next person, but I've also got some worries.
But I would give everybody a caveat, or that's a big word, but a warning, that just because somebody flew on a plane doesn't mean they're a dadgum pedophile. I have a lot of wealthy friends, and they fly on people's planes, and their plane will be down, and they'll say, hey, we're going somewhere, and we got an extra seat. Do you want to go? And they don't even know the person on the plane. So, that's one of the things I worry about, too, because, President Trump admitted that he flew on his dadgum plane, and so I worry about some innocent people.
Right. It's funny because that is actually exactly what I've been saying for a long time. By the way, one of the things that I've also said regarding the Democrats, remember what they tried to do last week, where they tried to get the House of Representatives to vote to force Epstein and the Department of Justice and all, not Epstein, but force the release of the Epstein grand jury information and everything that is related to Epstein. And the Democrats, they were trying to sort of force a House vote on that. And the Republicans knew exactly what they were trying to do. The Democrats were trying to force the Republicans to have to vote on it. But the Republicans, of course, blocked it in committee because what they said was that attaching it to an unrelated piece of legislation wasn't the avenue for this. And that's exactly what the Democrats wanted. They were trying to embarrass the Republicans and get them to do exactly what they were, again, forced to do, vote it down so the Democrats could use it as a talking point, which is what they did. And Tim Burchett knows that, and I know that, and a lot of you folks know that as well. But as far as the release of this information, Trump has told Pam Bondi, and now she has taken action to demand that those grand jury files be released, and that everything that is related to the Epstein files and the Epstein case and the Epstein saga be released. The question that he was asked, though, and it was an interesting answer, will we ever find out the truth?
I think it's a start. I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of anything, all of it, ma'am. I mean, look at the Kennedy assassination. Do you actually believe Lee Harvey Oswald shot President Kennedy from the front and the back, and this magic bullet appears an hour later on a hospital gurney and in an emergency room? You know, this town doesn't give up its secrets very easy, and I'd warn people too. Now we're getting a hold of this stuff. What happened the last 4 years under the Biden administration? Senator Dick Durbin blocked my Senator Marsha Blackburn, who valiantly fought to get those records out and acted pretty much like there wasn't anything, and the media backed him up on it. And now all of a sudden the media thinks they've got something, and it's leveled towards Trump.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a number of things going on. We'll get into what is going on coming up next. It is 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN.
And still keeping an eye on that crash reported here in Nashville at Burchett Pike at Ewing Drive. I'm Mason Fleming.
7:45. As far as your weather today, it is going to be dangerously hot, and it's going to be with the feels like temperature right around 105 or over. So keep it cool and stay safe, and appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So yeah, there is a number of things going on with the Epstein files this morning. Democrats and the media watching as this massive fight between Donald Trump and his supporters. So they're throwing gasoline on the fire, again, by trying to force that vote on an unrelated piece of legislation in the House of Representatives. Donald Trump is, of course, calling this whole thing a hoax. But honestly, I've been trying to figure out what exactly he means by that. But he is the one that hired Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and all three made careers out of talking about this ad nauseum. So, in my opinion, Donald Trump did step in it. And my computer just crashed. My computer just
I hate when that happens.
Do you know what the thing is, too? Is that I've got this whole thing timed out so that I hit the brake like on time. And when it does this and I have to wait for it to uncrash, it makes me late.
Yeah.
However, here's what Tim Burchett had to say about Donald Trump.
President Trump has started claiming this is all a hoax, that it's being perpetrated by the Democrats. He says some of his own supporters, who he labeled stupid and foolish Republicans. You are obviously one of those people who wants this released. What's your reaction to how President Trump has handled it?
It's his strategy. Was I a little ticked off he said that stuff? Sure I was. But I'm a big boy, ma'am. We're playing in the big leagues right now.
Yeah, and you folks know that I was surprised when Trump lashed out at his own supporters as well for a number of different reasons, basically saying that he didn't want the support of those who were still talking about all of this. And as I said this on the podcast, I said this on the radio as well. It did feel like a gut punch to me and to a lot of you folks as well. Although I'll be honest with you, Joan, and you and I spoke about it on the air. I think we're over it now. I'm sort of like, okay, you know what? Whatever. We're going to agree to disagree. And I'm not like Democrats. I'm not like others who used to be in my life who are going to disconnect because of a simple political disagreement.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I've already, was it a gut punch? Absolutely. But you know what? I'm over it. I've moved on. I still support Donald Trump. And that is what Tim Burchett said as well. I don't think it was a very smart political move on Donald Trump's part. However, as Burchett said, this is rough and tumble politics. So there's a number of different angles that we could talk about. But you know, the bottom line is that there has been a lot of things that have said about Donald Trump, a lot of really scurrilous accusations that have been made against Donald Trump. But one of the things that I don't want you folks to forget is there is a guy named Bradley Edwards, and he was an attorney working on the case against Jeffrey Epstein. And somebody caught up to him the other day and asked him about this whole thing. And he talks about how, and you folks have heard this before, but now you're hearing it straight from the attorney. Bradley Edwards says, as he was working on the case against Epstein, that Donald Trump was incredibly helpful while this investigation was taking place.
The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009.
Yep, exactly right. Donald Trump was there every step of the way, doing everything he could to help the people that were impacted by this, and also help the investigation. Now, there is also this, what some people call a third rail regarding the whole Epstein story. There's another guy, maybe you've heard of him. His name is John, and I may be shanking this name, Kirikow. And he's the guy who used to be a CIA officer, and he was a whistleblower who blew the lid off the CIA's waterboarding interrogation techniques years ago. Remember that? And so over the weekend, he was on a podcast, a really good podcast, by the way, with Patrick Bet-David. And he says that these Epstein files will never be released. And the reason, 2 words, national security.
Jeffrey Epstein, in my view, is a textbook case of an access agent. I've said this before, but I think it's important and it bears repeating. If you are a foreign intelligence service and you want information from Bill Clinton or Bill Gates or Alan Dershowitz or important people, you want the secret information from them. You're not going to recruit them. They don't need anything from you. They don't have any financial vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. So you do the next best thing, and you recruit somebody who has access to them.
Right. And so they go to Jeffrey Epstein, who does have access. And these guys, they had power. They had money, of course, and property and the rest of those things that so many people strive for. The one thing that they did not have access to was underage girls. And so the question now is, all right, so was this the Mossad through Israel? Was this the CIA working with the Mossad? What was it? And by the way, don't forget that Ghislaine Maxwell's father was supposedly an Israeli spy. So the true story of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein may never, ever actually be told. We'll have to, see what happens with all of these released files and what Pam Bondi is going to be able to do with the grand jury information. And will the president be able to get all of this information released? And nation, await. 7:53, Joan Jones has the news coming up at 8. Joan.
Tell you why construction is paused at the new Titan Stadium for now. And some tariff talk. There's a big deadline on tariffs that's coming up on Friday. We've got that and more coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. I want to tell you about the Glock store, my favorite two-way superstore. I'm going to tell you why. First, they've got the biggest selection of Glock handguns in the country, not just in Tennessee, but in the country. And when they say that they've got every Glock in stock, they are talking about every version of every model. And by the way, the custom Glocks, they are true works of art. It is worth the drive just to check those out. Now, second, the people, they're at the Glock store. They're not just Glock experts. They are Glock aficionados. They love talking Glocks. Glock accessories, Glock performance products. You'll never feel rushed to the Glock store or like you're asking too many questions. I had a ton. They have employees, by the way, who, they drive all the way in from Kentucky every single day just because they love working at the Glock store. And third, the customer service is unmatched. Here's an example. If their door is open for business, there's a certified Glock gunsmith on duty, and they'll install your enhancement or performance parts absolutely free while you wait. Now, that's just 3 of the many, many reasons the Glock store is my favorite gun store. And if you visit them just once, it'll be your favorite gun store, too, for life. The Glock store. Minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Shoot270.com. $7:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is, an hour or so before Brian Wilson takes over for Chris Hand, who is out today. And Joan, have we seen a photograph released of the noose found at Titan Stadium?
Nothing yet. I've
Nothing
been
yet.
diligently checking to find a photo, and I see nothing.
Why do you think they wouldn't release it?
Wow.
Like, if this is such a big news story and they had to literally shut down the construction of the stadium.
Yeah.
Is it still shut down, by the way? I think it is, because everybody had to go through a special, HR kind of training to tell people that it's bad to have a noose on a construction site. Bunch of construction workers.
There's some, very general pictures of the outside of the stadium, but there is no picture of a noose.
We spoke about this earlier, and a lot of people texted in the super text line at 615-737-9986. A lot of people texted in, and they're like, you have ropes that are tied in the shape of a noose for, construction reasons on these big construction sites. We'll talk a little bit more about this straight ahead, and a lot more on who the poly market is saying is going to be the next president of the United States. What is their money on? I've got details straight ahead on WTN.
Good morning, 8 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Want to let you know about a crash on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Goodlettsville. This is on the westbound side at Conference Drive, exit 1. Be advised of that crash and some delays around it as well. A Nashville man out walking his dog on Saturday morning discovered a woman's body. It was covered by a garbage bag along Night Valley Drive near Harding Place.
An autopsy report shows the woman died from blunt force trauma and severe cuts. Detectives describe her as a white woman with black, curly hair who was about 5'10" and weighed 185 pounds. Police say she did not have any tattoos.
Channel 4's Amanda Hara there. Now, police have not been able to identify that woman yet. They're hoping for help from the public to find her killer. Construction on the new Tennessee Titans Stadium is on pause while police investigate a noose that was found there on Friday. And now a $250,000 reward is being offered for information about who left it. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Obviously, this is an environment where we want to try as hard as we can to prevent scenarios that might be fear or hate-based. We've taken some steps, both with local policy, state policy, in partnership with them to try, again, to keep temperatures low and prevent hate incidents like this.
The Tennessee Builders Alliance is requiring additional anti-bias training for all of its employees. Over the weekend, the United Arab Emirates reportedly made an agreement with the Taliban to return 32 Afghans who had been taking refuge at a camp in Abu Dhabi. Now, these Afghans are the ones who helped the U.S. military before Joe Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. In a Truth Social post, President Trump says he'll work to help those Afghans. And this morning, Just the News is reporting that Secretary of State Marco Rubio was intervening with the UAE to protect the Afghans. Police in San Jose, California, confirming the arrest of the brother of late NFL star and U.S. Army Ranger Pat Tillman.
44-year-old Richard Tillman, the younger brother of Pat Tillman, is in the Santa Clara County Jail accused of arson. Federal investigators believe he drove, maybe intentionally, his car into a post office in San Jose. The post office became engulfed in flames. Investigators believe he may have been live streaming the incident that happened at around 3 a.m. on Sunday. There were also some words spray painted on the outside of the post office building that investigators are working to understand. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick reaffirming that the August 1st deadline still stands for tariffs. That's on Friday. President Trump has sent letters to dozens of countries warning of tariffs that range from 20 to 50% unless new deals are reached. It is earnings season, so we're waiting to hear this week from GM, Tesla, American Airlines, and Chipotle. Ahead of all of that, the Dow futures are plus 89 right now. NASDAQ futures plus 40. S&P futures are up 11 points. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So they're still working a scene in Goodlettsville on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in the westbound lanes at Conference Drive. That's exit 1, and it's very slow around it. Also, Murfreesboro Pike north of Smith Springs Road. They're working on the crash scene there as well. It's road work in Franklin on Lewisburg Pike, northbound side between Mack Hatcher Boulevard and Carnegie Park Drive. In Woodbine, a crash 440 eastbound at Nolensville Pike, and another one in Madison on Neely's Bend Road, east of Gallatin Pike South. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. Dan Mann is here along with Joan Jones. Sam is here producing as well. You know, we're talking about that news found at the stadium. One of the things that I find interesting, and then we'll move on, but one of the things that I find interesting is, as we're talking about this, they're making every single construction worker in that place take basically HR training.
Isn't it amazing?
I can't even imagine. And they have literally stopped construction at the stadium. It is shocking to me that they are just, I mean, I'm sorry, but it feels like they're overreacting. I mean, when you look at, and listen, I'm not saying that I'm like, this is going to sound so dumb. It's not like I'm pro noose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Even if it is an actual noose and a hateful thing, doesn't, in my opinion, mean that you stop construction on a hundred millions of dollars of stadium. You don't stop construction. They actually offered these guys, I guess maybe we just have a bunch of, I would say the leaders here who are making the construction workers take all of these, human resources classes, why nooses are bad and so forth. But they're also offering them counseling. Now, what construction worker out there like sees something that is a noose and they need counseling? This sounds like, even if it is a noose and it was an actual noose that is so obviously hearkening back to the horrific days of what that noose represents. Really? Do we need therapy? You stop the construction of the stadium? Yeah, you stop the construction of a stadium and you make all of these, big burly construction workers take human resources training. It seems so incredibly stupid.
And the thing is that it almost always turns out that we find out that these things are a hoax.
Yeah, hoax. We had the race car driver.
Yeah.
What's his name? Bubba.
Not Watson.
Wallace.
Wallace. Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace.
Thank you.
And remember, and here's the other thing. Do you remember when that story came out and it was like, oh my God. And then you saw the picture and then people are like, well, that's a garage pole.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's a garage pole. And then you had Jussie Smollett, who clearly was lying. I mean, since like day one when that story came out, I was on the air. I told folks this earlier. I was on the air when that story exploded. And I'm like, this doesn't pass the smell test. Who was walking around Chicago at 2:00 in the morning looking for a sandwich on the coldest night of the year? And then he happens along a couple of guys randomly carrying bleach and a noose, wearing MAGA hats in one of the cities that is the most videoed cities in America, Chicago. So we've been through this a number of different times. There have also been moments where you have things that are either scrawled on the side of a building, racial slurs and all, and there have been many times where that was actually done, by a black person. Like if it's the N-word scrawled on the side of a building, sometimes we find out that was actually done by a black person. I mean, I'm sorry, but that happens. It also happens where some, really dirtbaggy, nefarious people who are white supremacists and so forth, they do it too. But I'm just saying that I don't know if this passes the smell test. But even if it does, a gross overreaction, $250,000 reward. Can I ask this question? Have we ever seen a $250,000 award for a random murder in the city of Nashville? Now realize that I think isn't the award being offered by the Builders Association or something, Joan?
It's $250,000.
And who is offering? It's not the city. It's the Builders Association or whatever.
Tennessee Builders Alliance.
Something just feels weird to me about this. Something just feels, and the fact that there's no picture of it anywhere yet. And listen, somebody, one of the haters on the super text line said, if this does turn out to be something nefarious, will you apologize? Well, apologize for what? I said it very well could be a real noose. But what I'm saying is, even if it is a real noose, the overreaction is just stunning to me that they would stop the entire construction of the football stadium. And by the way, how many of those guys are probably irritated that they're losing hours? Because a lot of those guys are paid by the hour. And now they're losing hours because of a supposed noose that they found. And when we were talking about this earlier, we had all these people that sent notes on the super text line saying, well, it could be a noose or it could be And I think what do they call them? A pole line or something, Joan? And so they're.
I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember either. But if you go to we had all these construction people sending us notes saying, well, it was probably this. It may have looked like a noose, but it actually wasn't. So again, I don't know, whatever. But to me, I'm waiting for a picture. I want to see what the whole thing looks like. And I would, I don't know, like to see the stadium start to be built again. It just seems like they are way overreacting. It is 8:14 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Have you seen, Joan? I thought this was funny. Zoran Mamdani. Have you seen the video of him trolling people on the right?
Oh, no.
He is going to his home country of Uganda. And he has now put out a video. And I'm going to tell you, I don't like Mamdani. I think that the dude is clearly a communist, but he trolls the right. And it's very funny. I'm actually going to play it. Probably going to make some people mad, but I'm going to play it anyway because I do believe that it's funny. And I can laugh at our side as well. But all of that and more coming up. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. As far as your weather today, dangerous heat and highs going to feel like over 105 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Zoran Mamdani, of course, you know, he is the socialist. He is the communist, socialist Democrat, whatever you want to say. But he is possibly going to be the next mayor of New York. And so he is off on his way to, I guess, his home country of Uganda. Now, when that story came out, you had all these people on the right, including Laura Loomer. She says, amid growing outrage over his communist and jihadist policies, Zoran Mamdani has fled the country to his home country of Uganda to escape media accountability and questioning about his radical views. Then she says, is he going to Africa to get campaign cash? Is that what it is? So he puts out this video. This is why people like him. This dude terrifies the living crap out of me because I think that his policies are scary. But this is why people like him. He answers all of these critics and all of these, conservatives who are saying things like Laura Loomer.
Being a politician means listening, not just to your supporters, but your critics too. And some of these critics, especially on a certain website, have been giving me consistent advice. For example, @SamWhite087. Zoran, go back to Uganda, where you come from and belong. @TeflonGone. Loser, go back to Africa. There are thousands like this from...
Yeah, okay, I'm going to read some of these. Because all of these headlines pop up, right? I'm going to read some because, again, it's funny. You should be deported back to Africa. Go back from where you came. Bro, you getting sent back to Africa. Another one. Get rid of this guy. Go back to where you came from. You don't belong here. It's all of these just, I'm going to say it. I think it's all very silly because I think the guy's policies are scary, but I think that these kinds of headlines and people on the socials saying these kinds of things, I don't think it helps our side. I think what helps our side is a reasoned policy discussion like we had when this dude first arrived at this on the scene. Anyway, so he's reading all of these headlines.
Sir, go back to Africa. There are thousands like this from across the country. I hear you. And I agree. I'm going back to Uganda. I'm headed there in a personal capacity to celebrate Rama and I's marriage with our family and friends. But I do want to apologize to the haters because I will be coming back.
Did you hear what he said, Joan?
Because I will be coming back?
I do apologize to the haters. I will be coming back.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the warning.
I'm sorry, but that's funny. I mean, this is like next level trolling.
And since you will undoubtedly read about this trip in the New York Post, inshallah on the front page, here are a few of my humble suggestions for headlines. MIA, Mamdani in Africa. Uganda miss me. He's completely crazy. He can't be serious. Carl Kampala-Neely investigates Mamdani. Zoe running away.
And then you have he and another guy, and they're waving as he is on his way back to Uganda. I think that's funny. Am I wrong on this?
Nah.
That is next level trolling. And that's why people like this guy. Because he is able to mask his communism with his good nature. He's got a bright smile. But the reality is that he wants to defund the police. He wants the government to run grocery stores. All of those things that we talked about, again, when he first arrived on the scene, those are the things that you have to keep in mind. All of this stuff like go back to Africa and all of those things. I don't necessarily think that helps our side. I just don't. I think you talk about what the dude stands for, and he will more than likely lose, but we'll have to see ultimately what happens. Really fascinating, though, what is going on in New York, because, and this is a conversation that we have about, all of these folks that are watching this race in these cities where they perpetually vote in the worst policies ever. And you have decades of bad policies, and the Democrats still vote these idiots in. Did you hear the interview, Joan, with Lindsay Snyder?
No.
Do you know who she is?
No.
The In-N-Out CEO?
Oh, okay.
So she had an interview. I'm gonna play some audio bites from it. She had an interview. I forget who it was with, but the whole Ali Beth Stuckey, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And so she's talking about what she has been going through living in California, and realized that her family has made millions and millions of dollars in California as the owners of In-N-Out Burger. And she finally, as everyone knows, she finally said, you know what, screw it. We are going to leave California as a family, and we are going to move our company, leave California, go to Franklin, Tennessee. And she talks about that whole experience and the decision-making of deciding, you know what, as a family, we are going to move to Tennessee. And it's really interesting. And I absolutely love the book about In-N-Out. She wrote it, and I'm reading it, almost done, about how they started up In-N-Out way back when. I want to say it was in the mid to late 50s. And they ultimately ended up, as everybody knows, they built a hamburger chain empire in California. And they're finally coming to Tennessee, as is Lindsay Snyder. So I've got some of that audio for you straight ahead. It is 8:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Joan Jones has the news at 8:30. Joan, what's coming up?
Yeah, so what's with that big police presence in Antioch this morning? We've got the news on that. Also, how a skydiver ended up in a tree this weekend. That and more coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$822, Dan Mandis here, and want to tell you about my friends at Contours. They can help you slide into that bathing suit here in July. Their $99 special continues. It is the Belly Buster special going on right now. You know those Belly Buster specials. Most folks lose at least 2 inches in the middle. I did, of course, Chad Benson going through this as well. He did, taking advantage of Contours' red light technology. It's not only incredibly unique, but also effective. Now, folks have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check them out. You can go to their website and see how their Belly Buster therapy actually works. It is red light technology, and it is incredible. Now, right now, you can take advantage of the summer special, courtesy of Contours. $99 to the first 10 callers right now when you call 615-236-9960. You get that Belly Buster special right now for only $99, courtesy of Contours. This is a company that is going to help you immensely. Again, taking advantage of Contours red light technology. It is incredibly unique. It is effective. Check it out online and find out how their red light technology works. ContoursLLC.com is the website. First 10 callers right now, you get that special for just $99. That saves a lot of money. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960 for Contours. Dan Med is here, 826, with a question for you. If your roof was destroyed in a storm, how much of that replacement cost would your insurance company cover? Now, if you don't know, you really do need to ask because some insurance companies refuse to pay full replacement cost. They're going to deduct money for an older roof, and this means that the insurance company is depreciating how much they pay for your roof claim. If you've got an older roof, they're going to pay you less, and that could leave you on the hook for thousands of dollars. Now, my friends at King & Associates Insurance, they will pay full replacement cost. So whether you have to replace a 20-year-old roof or a 2-year-old roof, they pay for it to be replaced, period. It is that kind of focus on customer service that makes King & Associates Insurance one of the best insurance companies around. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-329-8121, 615-329-8121. Get your Royal Review, tkinginsurance.com. 828, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Coming up, why is Lindsay Snyder fleeing California? That story for you and a whole lot more. I did find this interesting. Joan, do you know what the poly market is?
I heard you say that word. No, I don't know what that is.
That is people who bet on politics.
Oh, poly, P-O-L-I. Poly.
It's P-O-L-Y. But,
okay.
But, yeah, whatever. So, but these are the people that bet money on politics. Do you know who they're saying is they're putting their money on as far as who's going to be the next president?
J.D.
J.D. Vance. 27% are saying that J.D. Vance is going to be the next president, and that is where their money is going. Do you know who's number 2? Gavin Newsom.
What?
Yeah, they say that 14% say Gavin Newsom is going to be the next president. Do you know where Marco Rubio? Do you know where Marco Rubio is going to be?
No.
6%.
What?
They say that Marco Rubio is 6%. Do people get the joke? Marco Rubio. Marco Polo.
Okay.
Marco Rubio.
Got it, Dan.
Come on, man. Listen, I've been talking for 8.5 hours straight.
You have.
You've got to keep up with my brand of comedy, Joan.
We just have to suffer along with you.
That's exactly right. It's my job every single morning. I've got to make everybody suffer. Anyway, coming up, so I'm a big JD fan. So I'm also a Marco Rubio fan, but if it comes right down to it, Poly Market is saying that JD is going to be our next president of the United States. By the way, you know who's down with Marco Rubio?
Who?
DJ TJ. Donald Trump Jr.
Oh.
Yeah. Wait, he's been flirting. He's been flirting as well. So anyway, obviously we'll have to see where that whole thing plays out. You know who was not
nowhere near his dad's level of cool or
no.
I hope he doesn't decide to keep going with this.
Do you know whose name was not on the list? At least not that I could find. Was
Hillary Clinton.
Not Hillary Clinton, but also Kamala Harris.
Wow.
So there you go. I know, crazy, isn't
Color me shocked.
All right, well, very good. It is 8:30, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Got a lot more straight ahead.
$8:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. A massive police presence in Antioch early this morning, as police searched for a man who drove off from a traffic stop along I-24 at Old Hickory. Happened about 2 in the morning. Channel 2's Peyton Kennedy is on the scene this morning.
Police said the car would get on and off the interstate. Eventually, the car quit, essentially, at the OHB overpass after about 45 minutes of driving. Police say a man then got out wearing a white T-shirt and dark pants and ran off towards this October Woods development.
Now, it's not clear if that driver has yet been found. In Tullahoma, a skydiver got caught up in a tree on Sunday. Coffee County Emergency Management called in to help rescue that man after it was determined that he came down in an area that was too dense for a helicopter to rescue him. 2 other skydivers who had jumped at the same time as that guy, they landed safely. An Ole Miss freshman killed in a shooting on Saturday night in Memphis. 18-year-old Corey Adams of New Orleans was found dead inside a car that had been stopped by police. The shooting happened outside of a home there in Memphis. Adams was set to begin his first year at Ole Miss and his first season playing on the Ole Miss football team. So what were you doing when you were learning to walk? Well, a little boy in L.A. was learning to play the piano, and now, at the ripe old age of 5, he's made his debut on the world-famous stage at Carnegie Hall. Alec Van Caducerin is his name, and he spoke to reporters over the weekend.
I was the first performer. I played 2 pieces, and I was so excited.
Yeah, I bet he was. That kid can identify any note just by hearing it, something only a few people have the ability to do. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And we're checking out the stocks as they begin trading today. The Dow Jones Industrials up 78 points, the NASDAQ gaining 72, S&P 500 index opening 15 points higher. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33 on Nashville's Morning News. So if you are thinking about selling your home right now, is the time. With Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer, you can sell your home quickly and for maximum value. Make the most of your summer by selling your home with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. You can skip all the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly without the stress of showings, open houses, or costly repairs. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed all-cash offer allows you to sell your home in as little as 21 days and move when you're ready. Listener Lori says Mark Spain Real Estate, they were great. They had our house sold within 3 days, and they kept us informed of everything that was happening. She says Mark Spain Real Estate was wonderful to work with, and she says, I would recommend them to anyone looking to sell. With over 13,000 five-star reviews, you can trust the top real estate team in the U.S. to sell your home stress-free and for the most money. Call 855-299-SOLD or go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing. USS United Structural Systems. And listen, I've been telling you for years about United Structural Systems. They are experts in waterproofing, concrete leveling, and foundation repair. This is a great company. They've helped me several times with my home, and that is why I proudly endorse United Structural Systems. Now, I'm one of 30,000 satisfied customers. Listen to this recent review on Google. Guy says that USS was highly professional. The crew was phenomenal from start to finish. They treated his home as if they were working on their own. And yes, he does give United Structural Systems 5 stars all the way. Now, USS, they're not going to charge you for any unnecessary repairs. They're not going to pay you a dime until the work is done and you are a satisfied customer. And they can help you with basement and crawl space waterproofing, basement wall stabilization, and foundation repair. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. When they ask you where you heard about them, tell them Dan from WTN, USSTN.com.
Woodbine got a crash on Thompson Lane east of Foster Avenue, Goodlettsville. It's Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. The westbound lane's at Conference Drive, exit 1. There's a crash there. The left lane's still blocked off. It's been there a while. Franklin, Lewisburg Pike, northbound between Mac Hatcher Boulevard and Carriage Park Drive. It's blocked off there because they're doing road work. And in Berry Hill, some debris on the road, I-440 westbound past I-65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.837 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Do you know, I'm thinking, Joan, about going on, what do they call it when Muslims, they go to the Middle East and they go to, is it Mecca? Is that what they call it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about doing the same thing, but for the In-N-Out location in Lebanon.
Like it's a religious ritual.
Like it is a religious experience.
Yeah.
That's what In-N-Out is going to be like for me.
So when is it coming?
It's not till next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's called the Hajj.
The Hajj.
Hajj?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Shows you how much I know. Anyway.
Yeah,
so,
it does.
Oh, be quiet, Joan. You didn't know either. You're all hoity-toity. Joan over there. Anyway, so In-N-Out, of course, everybody knows that they are coming to Middle Tennessee. They are heading east. Allie Beth Stuckey had an interview with In-N-Out president Lindsay Snyder. And, she was talking about, need some audio. She was talking about the first time that she and her family leaving California for the state of Tennessee. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of people that are listening to me right now, sound of my voice, that can relate to what Lindsay Snyder has to say about living in Southern California and why she's moving to our neck of the woods, you people in Franklin. She's moving to your town.
We're building an office in Franklin. So I'm actually moving out there. And
wow, how do you feel about that? You're like a California girl through and through, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really loved living in Northern California, and I'm so thankful that I grew up there because I think it changed a lot of who I am today. I think I would be different if I was raised in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
But there, like you said, there's a lot of great things about California.
Name one. Okay, the beaches. The beaches are great. Mountains are fine. That's two. You get two baseball teams, so that's
wine
three.
Country.
What's that?
Wine country.
Speak. Yes.
Sure. Joan. All right, there might be a few redeeming qualities of California, but obviously Lindsay Snyder is like, and this is the way that I was when I moved away from California for the last time many, many years ago. The negatives far outweighed whatever positives there were.
But raising a family is not easy here. Doing business is not easy here. Now, the bulk of our stores are still going to be here in California. But it will be wonderful having an office out there, growing out there.
Best thing about that little comment, they've got a picture of Lindsay Snyder holding a Tennessee flag. I love that. I'm going to go ahead and repost this.
Totally.
And being able to have the family and other people's families out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that, it's two-part. We'll have everybody under one roof here in Baldwin Park, and we'll close our fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big transition. And that's happening in the next few years, right?
Yeah, we've kind of, given it a longer runway so that it's smoother for everybody so they can plan and all of that. And we gave them a lot of notice, because we love them. And
you know what I love about the book that she wrote about In-N-Out is they are, and this is what I love about them, they are unapologetically Christian. And I like that about them. I mean, we have all talked about, the Bible verses on the cups and all that kind of stuff, but they're unapologetic about it. And for, the folks in California, Gavin Newsom, I played you some of that audio last week. Gavin Newsom is unapologetically progressive. And one of the things, and I pointed this out, but one of the things that Gavin Newsom does is he'll extol the virtues of California, but to be perfectly honest, a lot of the things that he said are, as I said at the time last week, flat out lies. They're obfuscations or they're half-truths. And all you have to do is look at what California is losing and what Tennessee is gaining. And so the part of this story is that In-N-Out it's not a national brand. In-N-Out is a worldwide brand. And them bailing on California, I think, at least for me, it tells you all you need to know about California, and it does tell you all you need to know about our state of Tennessee. One more soundbite.
I want to make it as easy as possible, but by 2030, we'll close the Irvine office. So.
Okay, so at one point you said that within your lifetime, like if you draw lines from Texas, everything to the left, like you want In-N-Out there, but not maybe to the right of the line. Yeah. And you talked about just like the importance of the kind of like novelty of In-N-Out, like that you liked when someone comes into town where there's an In-N-Out, they're like, I got to go there, which is totally true. Yeah. That's what people do, by the way. I'm guessing, though, since you're going to be, to the right of that line, that you're probably going to be opening up in and outs there. So what does the strategy look like? Has it changed?
In other words, how far east are you going to go?
Well, it's funny. I think Kid Rock, his name's Bob, I think he's the one that actually drew the new map. And he put the line up from Texas, grabbed Tennessee, went around Tennessee and back up. And I'm like, yeah, that's accurate.
There you go.
So I think for me, it's the same heart. It's just, I guess I would say a man plans his ways and God takes his steps, So we had a plan and then he snuck that in there. And I think, Florida has begged us and we're still saying no. The East Coast states, we're still saying no. We're able to reach Tennessee from our Texas warehouse.
All right, so there you go.
Hey, I have something for you on this.
What do you have?
The company called Smart Asset deals with consumerish issues. Analyzed some data from the Census Bureau, and they came up with a list of the 10 top cities where retirees are fleeing. They're getting out of Dodge.
Oh, yeah.
Guess what state has the top 4?
Well, California.
Yeah.
California. Absolutely. There is a massive fleeing of California.
4 cities make the list of the top 10. That's incredible.
No kidding.
Yep. So it's Los Angeles, San Diego, Oakland, and San Jose. And retirees just don't want to be there anymore.
So let's go through those again. So you said Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
That's where I was born and raised, is there in Los Angeles in Southern California. And I will never, ever go back. Obviously, I've said that many, many different times, except to go to the Reagan Library. San Jose, which I think is outside of San Francisco, right?
Okay.
Oakland.
Yes.
Is just, Oakland is like third world territory. That's what Oakland is, third world territory. It looks horrific in Oakland.
The numbers here, there's a total population of 88,000 60 and older people in Oakland, and more than 2,000 people have left Oakland who are 60 and older, retiree age. That's the biggest percentage of people out of the cities in California.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest percentage-wise. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's why, when you look at a Gavin Newsom versus a J.D. Vance, to me, what do you want to be? Do you want to be California, or do you want to be Tennessee? Do you want to be, Florida, whatever? And I think that when and we talked about this the other day, Gavin Newsom says, we've got a huge mass of people coming into the state of California, and our, the stories of our demise, not so fast. Well, as I pointed out, okay, but who are you getting, and who's leaving? Lindsay Snyder, millionaire, is leaving. Elon Musk left. Joe Rogan left. There's one more that I can't remember now, but some other rich, famous person also left. And of course, me, not so rich and definitely not so famous. But the point is, they got in a bunch of illegal aliens. That is who they replace Lindsay Snyder and Joe Rogan and Elon Musk and Dan Mandis and many, many others that now live in Tennessee. Well, I live in Tennessee, but, they lost Elon Musk to Texas. They lost Joe Rogan to Texas as well. And many, many other people as well. So, and they're all going to Florida. They're all coming to Tennessee. They're going to South Carolina is another one. I heard a story just this morning about the flight from California. Oakland has some very rich people in the hills and the Fruitvale area, says Joe. Maybe that's true. Here's the thing, though. How fun is it to live in a nice area when you are surrounded by crap? You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I lived in California, I kid you not, when it started getting really bad, you would drive 3 or 4 minutes and you're in a ghetto. You're in a terrible location.
It's awful.
You are surrounded by homelessness. I had my mom's boy. Oh, Gary Sinise is another one. Thank you. 0396.
There you go.
Kirk Cameron is here now. Oh, Shapiro, and people are now reminding me. Shapiro and the Daily Wire. Absolutely. Clint Eastwood. That one I didn't know.
What? Clint Eastwood?
You know what? Vince Neil and Motley Crue left California. Yeah. I mean, the list goes on. And Vince Neil lives here. Actually, Vince Neil lives in Franklin. Do you know where you don't want to be, Joan?
Where?
Vince Neil is going to kick my butt one day. You don't want to be between Vince Neil and an In-N-Out hamburger. He's put on some weight. But then again, so have I.
Mark Wahlberg also left.
Yeah, Mark
Sylvester
Wahlberg.
Stallone. Remember that? Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone
moved his whole family out.
to, I think it was Florida. And you had Mark Wahlberg. Didn't he move to Utah?
Out of Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
To Las Vegas. Okay,
Yeah.
so there you go.
Kelly Clarkson, Chris Hemsworth.
McMars lives in Franklin.
Dean Cain, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman and Mr. Nicole Kidman,
Yeah.
Keith Urban.
Him.
They obviously live here as well. Peter Frampton lives right down the road, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
So anyway, all right, enough of that. Oh, Nikki Sixx went to Wyoming. That's right.
Wow.
How do you go from, bustling Sunset Strip to Wyoming? I don't know how
I
you
think
do
Wyoming probably has some hot spots. I couldn't name them, but.
Really?
Oh.
By the way, people not understanding my joke with Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio.
Polo.
Marco Rubio. Yeah. Marco Polo. How do people not understand that? Like that is a classic child game.
Maybe they're trolling you.
You think they're trolling me? Well, that's okay.
We grew up in an era with like physical toys and then screens and stuff. We didn't have to make our own fun. There was fun provided.
Yeah. Well, well, all right. Clint Eastwood moved to Bedford County?
Wow.
I didn't know that. Really? All right. Very good. All right. We could do this all day. Talk about people who have moved to Middle Tennessee. Oh, you know who? Last one. Do you know who lives in Middle Tennessee? Oh, what is his name? The guy who was in Karate Kid. Who is not Ralph Macchio, but the other guy. Is it Macchio? Macchio, whatever. The other guy. What is his name, Joan? How do you not know this?
Am I
Johnny?
a walking encyclopedia?
No, but you should be.
Okay.
The guy, Sam, is looking it up. I can't remember Sam's name either. But
yeah, that's Sam's job.
Come on, Sam, be a producer.
William Zabka?
Yeah, William Zabka. What did he play?
Johnny Lawrence.
Johnny Lawrence. I desperately wanted to interview him, and I could not find a connection to him to save my life. You'd think that he was trying to avoid me. But anyway, so yeah.
I can't imagine why someone would do that.
Joan, I think we're done with this day. It is 8:51 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, for those of you asking, Chris Hand is out today, and Brian Wilson is filling in. And coming up at 9, Joan, what do you got?
So an airline had to ground its planes overnight. We'll tell you why investigators are worried there's going to be more ground stops like that one. That story and more coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. You know, the weather in Middle Tennessee, it can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. You can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. The Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. Dan Mandis here for Tennessee National. Listen, if you've always wanted to live by the lake, got to check out my friends at Tennessee National. Now, they've got great deals going on right now. They've got a brand new phase of lake lots, one day only. They are available on Saturday, July 26th. That is this coming Saturday. So you need to schedule your private tour. Cottage package with boat slips, they are starting at $359.9. 1.5 acre lot with covered boat slip from $99.9. And move-in ready homes with free upgraded outdoor kitchen, $30,000 off. Not to mention 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, and pickleball courts, on-site coffee shop, and a whole lot more. So come on out, enjoy life on the water. This is, by the way, just over 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And yes, financing is available. So again, don't forget to secure your private tour. If you've always wanted to live by the lake, this is a huge opportunity for you from Tennessee National, July 26th. That is this coming Saturday. Find them online, TennesseeNational.com, 865-408-9992, 865-408-9992. $8:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of folks are chiming in on the super text line. Do you know what we could do, Joan, one day?
What's that?
We could actually do our, who's your favorite imported celebrity?
Like imported into the state of Tennessee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in other words, all these people have come in.
Mhm.
And do you know what I did one time? I did celebrity sightings. Like, who have you seen in Tennessee, and what were they doing? Because I actually find all that stuff kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, in L.A., you see him all the time. I must have seen Jay Leno 1,000 times walking around in Hollywood. In Hollywood and in Burbank, where he, if I remember right, he did his show in Burbank. And he would be all over the place, taping his show and doing, man on the street interview kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just living in Los Angeles and hanging out in the valley like I did, you would see stars everywhere. I would be willing to bet that if I actually got out more, I would see more stars here than I see now in California. When I was in California, I think I see more stars now than in California. And when you go to Whole Foods on any given day, or some of these, higher end markets like a Trader Joe's, you camp out at Trader Joe's for a few hours, you're going to see somebody. You're going to see somebody who is a star, musician, whatever it is. Somebody told me where Taylor Swift hangs out one time.
Did you stalk her?
No, she's not worth stalking.
Really?
Moving right along. Brian Wilson is coming up next. The super text line is open, 615-737-9986. Check out the podcast, Chris and I, of course. Mostly Peaceful with Dan and Chris. The conversation there is still relevant. You can find that on the station's social media. You can find it on my social media as well. I'll return tomorrow right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we start off with some weather news. We're really in for it this week when it comes to stifling heat and humidity.
Dangerous heat and humidity all week long. Heat index values should range between about 100 to even 110 degrees. As of right now, the heat alerts are as followed. We have excessive heat warnings in effect for parts of northwest Middle Tennessee and southwestern Kentucky. Across a good amount of the mid-state, heat advisories are in effect, the exception being out in the Cumberland Plateau and some areas in southern Kentucky.
So we're already at 83 degrees, and Stefano's got the full forecast coming up right after the news. In New York City, an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer was shot in the face during an attempted robbery. The officer managed to shoot the suspect, wounding him. Here's ABC's Phil Tate.
An off-duty Border Patrol officer is recovering this morning after being shot in the face following a botched robbery. As for the suspect, we're told that he was here in the country illegally and was supposed to be deported. Cops say the alleged gunman, 21-year-old Miguel Mora, is now in their custody in connection to the shootout and has a history of violence as recent as a few months ago.
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is going to host a press conference on this later this morning. Meantime, Secretary Noem is joining the long list of people condemning Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell over his interference with ICE agents attempting to remove violent illegal immigrants here in Nashville.
This guy's priorities are completely screwed up, and he doesn't deserve to be a mayor. And he needs to stop and knock it off and grow up and act like a leader and start sending his law enforcement officers to have our backs.
She says those removed in Nashville, earlier this year, 90 were convicts, including known MS-13 gang members, a child rapist, and murderers. O'Connell contends that the internet posting of the names of ICE agents operating in Nashville was a mistake. Alaska Airlines is working to get its planes up and running again after a system-wide ground stop that stretched into the early morning hours. Alaska Airlines blaming it on an IT outage. NBC's Tom Costello says some believe there's something nefarious going on.
We have received warnings in recent months about hackers specifically targeting airlines. And earlier this summer, we saw Hawaiian Airlines, which is a unit of Alaska, being hacked, and also Canada's WestJet being hacked. In total, overnight, more than 200 aircraft simply couldn't go anywhere as Alaska was dealing with the IT issue.
The airline said it's going to take a minute to reposition crews and aircraft, and it's going to cause some residual delays. Another outage of a different kind, ChatGPT, reportedly experiencing a widespread outage, and New York Post reports that OpenAI has acknowledged the problem, says it's working on it. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks soaring right now. The Dow Jones Industrials plus 168, NASDAQ up 152 points, and the S&P 500 index up just 34. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.